Okay. Don't know why. YouTube seems to have changed something, but we are live. The live button seems to have moved on Creator Studio from being on YouTube to just activating when I go live on OBS. That's new. I I apologise for that. For the abruptness of that, it was that's unusual. But we are live. Ginger, you there, dude?
I am there. I have been waiting patiently.
Sorry about that. It was doing odd things for me, and it is now up and running. So we are
Don't
live.
worry, I fully blame the technology.
Well, it's different now than it was last time we did a stream, and it was not that long ago. It wasn't last week, of course,
2
because
weeks.
I was busy last week. I do apologise. I
Hmm.
had to catch up with some old friends.
And I hope you did manage to catch up.
Yep, yep. We had some very good times. Drove some very fast cars. We knocked the clay pigeon shooting on the head, and went I went driving cars around Wales. So
Ooh, not bad.
Wales is a very pretty part of the country.
Hmm. Did you drive past any castles?
We drove past a lot of ruins. There's a lot of castles in Wales. I don't know if you know. It's like the most densely populated by castles part of England. Most of them
It's the
are,
most densely castled place in the world,
yeah,
including the rest of Europe.
which is mad because Europe have a lot of castles, although a lot of the schlosses and chateaux are more like mansions than actual castles. But
Hmm.
yeah, no, these were real castles. These were real castles designed by the Welsh to keep the English out, and by the English to keep the Celts out, and by both the English and the Welsh to keep the Vikings out. And yeah, a lot of fighting happened in them there hills. lot of fighting. Um,
Hmm.
but you know, worth it. Definitely worth it. Best coal in the world, isn't it, Wales? I'm not even joking. The coal with the highest calorific per gram content, I believe it's called anthracite,
Mhm.
is found in
Correct.
Wales.
Anthracite is the most pure form of coal, and Wales has some of the largest reserves of anthracite coal in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And whilst it can be found elsewhere in the world, Wales is the only place that has ever traditionally, on a large scale, mined it.
Yes. I know this because my grandfather was quite a big player in the national coal industry back in the 1950s and 60s. After he got back from
Hmm.
Germany, he went over to Germany in the 1940s to get the German coal industry back up on its feet after, you know, there'd been a few accidents, a few mines and factories had fallen over into disrepair and generally been, you know, woodworm and various other things like bombs had destroyed most of it, and they needed to rebuild it. And yeah, now he went over there and helped with that, and then helped get the iron and steel and coal industries of Europe to start talking to each other. And then that became the EU, and he voted. And it was the basic last thing he did because he died the year after. Bless him.
Hmm.
His he was very very deeply organisation had gone. And so, I'm right too. So would I. Right. Anyway, we're here to talk D&D, not politics. That's next week at the
Yes.
docks. Yes,
Right then.
indeed. Earthwind and Shire, A Bard's Tale, episode 23.
Hmm. In the previous sessions, the party has been exploring around the small town of Donheim, a town that is largely situated in two parts. One part being nestled between the mountains that hold the mines of Donheim and the river that runs through from Nordshire all the way down to the ocean. The other part of the town, it consists of the north side, which is generally speaking more affluent due to it not having to deal with the griminess of the mines people.
These
But
people would have been
all
covered
that
in
said,
coal dust a lot then.
not so much coal dust, more just general. Well, this is something that your party will have figured out by this point, so I don't see any harm in telling you. The mines of Nordshire, no, they're not. The mines of Donheim are gold mines.
Yes. Yes, they are. But they are plagued. Plagued, I tell you, by wyverns, if I remember rightly.
Well, one wyvern specifically.
Yes. Had volunteered. Actually, more than volunteered ourselves to kill said wyvern in the last episode. In fact, we'd basically bullied the local mayor to letting us kill it. Because he didn't
Indeed.
want to, because he was a cunt. He liked the fact that wyvern was plaguing his town and killing his people and keeping them in at night and basically inflicting a curfew on them, curtailing their freedoms and liberties under pain of terror of death. And he was like, oh, this is great. Everyone's afraid and staying in their homes. They're like, no, fuck that. Fuck that, we're going to kill it, and you're going to give us a big fat take of your mine as payment, or we're going to fucking tell everyone.
Yep. A bluff that was largely reinforced by Piper rolling a stupendously high deception check, informing the man that everything that he had just admitted to the party in a closed room had in fact been recorded, which was a bald-faced lie. But rolling a 27 on a deception check when making such a claim, and then the mayor in question rolling, if I recall correctly, a 3 on his insight, results in some bricks being dropped, shall we say?
Yeah, he definitely should have worn the brown trousers. I mean, the thing is, I mean, he's having a bad time with our party because we largely aren't going to roll much less than a 27 on any type of charisma check. Pretty much the party over.
Yeah.
It is. But bards are almost cheating, actually, on some levels.
Getting both expertise but also jack of trades. Only rogues come close.
Yeah. Yep. So
It's like a rogue, but you don't even have to bother opening the lock. You just convince it already was.
yeah, you just find the guy with the keys and talk him into it.
Well, that all being said, there's some additional information that you guys will have heard in the roughly day or so that you have now been in the presence of Donheim. First of all, as I alluded to earlier, there is in fact only one wyvern.
Yep.
That is confirmed to be plaguing the mines of Donheim. And this one wyvern seems to have made its primary residency in a particular area, in a particular mine. However, in doing so, has effectively rendered all of the mine entrances effectively unusable due to any kind of activity disturbing the beast.
Yes.
Rendering the mines largely defunct.
Yes, and we were at the end of the last session. We'd found a shop, and they'd basically gone, yes, you'll want to see the back room, and opened up their particularly large supply of interesting and specialty items. We'd left it at that.
Indeed.
you'd requested that we send any special requests for any particularly flavorful, shall we say, items over to you. As I remember mentioning that Bobby would like a song blade if he can get hold of one.
Yes, a song blade is something that you have requested, but unfortunately, that kind of thing is not exactly dwarven stuff.
Yeah, I know it's
Dwarves
more.
aren't known for making dwarves aren't known for making rapiers, let alone magical ones.
Yes.
You were informed, although Trig might not know this, but Bobby certainly would, that whilst it isn't something that is ready and available for use immediately, something along those lines could be commissioned
Okay.
as a special one-off case.
Okay. It's
It
not a
would take
bad
some
idea.
time to go through, and it would just be a simple matter of you coming back in probably somewhere around a month to come and pick it up. But assuming you're willing to pay up front for it, that is absolutely something that can be made for the party.
Okay. That might be something I will think about if we get through the this session and defeat said wyvern, etc. That might be a nice little, you know, Christmas present for Bobby to himself. But there's no point in spending all your money on something that you're not going to have for the big fight that's coming up. That's a
No.
terrible move. I do have a couple of ideas on how to deal with a wyvern. Most of which we might be able to fashion ourselves with various
Hmm.
other things. But in any case, like anything that is along the lines of a decent armor that can withstand wyvern damage. When that tail hit me with the last wyvern fight, it very nearly finished Bobby off. It was a pretty much nearly a straight kill, and his armor class of 16 is something that he's a little concerned about at this point. Maybe
Yeah, that
something that can
wyvern stinger.
is nasty.
That
Yes.
wyvern stinger is it's fucking nasty. It's
I
very deeply unpleasant to be hit by.
Hmm.
I had totally forgotten about wyvern armor. Did we ever get finished? I know we commissioned it. Did we ever get finished the wyvern armor that we were setting up? The because we had scales for a jacket, wyvern skin jacket, and we were going to make some jeans as well, weren't we, for Bobby?
No,
All of that
Someone else wanted some boots, I believe.
all of that stuff was only discussed. You have yet to encounter anybody capable of actually turning the raw materials into the appropriate stuff.
Yeah.
However, since the previous wyvern kill, you have been on the road.
Right.
Yeah. So we've not got much on that front. Although we do have some wyvern leather, maybe we can, I don't know, get a shield and whack some scales on the front of that shield and maybe make it a shield of resist fire, if such a thing might exist. But either way, I think we're going to have to, unless anyone else has got any other ideas, defeat this one with a little bit of guile and cleverness, rather than just running at it with sharp sticks. Because that's, if this is a big wyvern, and it seems to be, two
Actually, on
hobbits,
that
a dwarf,
point,
and an elf might not fare too well in a straight up fight.
I will ask your party to, well, actually, specifically Bobby, since Bobby is about, I believe, the only one who spotted it in the night, to roll me a Roll me a post-event nature check, shall we say?
Post-event nature check. Okay. Will I have any sort of advantage on this? Bearing in mind we did spend quite a long time in that library arguing with Cardgar about dragons.
No, for this specific check, you won't have advantage, but don't worry, the DC isn't very high. You'll have to roll particularly shite to be able to not get anything useful
It's
out of this.
Bobby with a nature check. He's going to be lucky if he gets 5. 16. Okay.
Hey, look.
Yeah.
You passed. Bobby, given the fact that you have not only read about the dragons, but have also personally seen a wyvern up close and far too personally, you are quite confident that the wyvern located in this small town of Donheim is larger than the last one that you encountered.
I thought. Right. So he's a biggie. Not a dragon, though. Right?
You're quite confident it's not a dragon.
But is Cardgar certain it's not a dragon?
Hardguard doesn't know what a fucking
That is a
dragon
good
is.
question.
No, it's a
Can't tell
parakeet, obviously.
You can tell the difference between a dragon and a donkey.
Well, with all that said, let's say the party is just walking away from the mayor's house at this point, picking it up almost immediately from where we left things off in the previous session. It's in the mid-afternoon. You're making your way back towards the town square, where only no more than an hour ago your party had been throwing somewhat of an impromptu festival. Upon arrival in the town square, you have a few people all make their way over to you, clamoring for autographs and things of that nature, asking various questions like, what are your names, and all kinds of information along those lines. And if there's anything that you would like to ask the general hubbub of townsfolk that have clamoured around you, now would be the time.
Are there any pretty ones?
There are ones that are certainly pretty by dwarven standards, though unfortunately you have yet to see one of the fabled dwarven bearded women.
Oh. Looks like it's going to be a quiet night for Bobby. Oh well.
I'd like to pass out some Heart of the Shire leaflets as they come up. Make sure that they're in a good mood for them.
Right, so I assume you have a whole bunch of these just printed off for the purposes of handing them out at times like this.
Yeah,
or are you
we printed
requesting
loads of them in
that?
Bar Pack.
Right, okay, good to know. Well, as you are addressing all of the various townsfolk, you hear a familiar voice, the sound of the very same mayor that was speaking to you only minutes before. He calls out from the opening to a street that you guys will have only moments earlier left, and shouts out to the townsfolk, "It seems our intrepid heroes from afar are going to be slaying the damned beast. Everybody, help them out in as best a way as you can." And then turns around and promptly walks away. Go ahead and roll me an insight check. Anyone who wants to.
I feel rather insightful.
Indeed, Cardgar does feel rather insightful. And in fact, Cardgar, you are able to tell that there was a surprising amount of genuineness to that calling out, though there was a distinct undercurrent of, I don't know, malice in his eyes as he called this out. He stared in the direction of your party with a look of, I hope you choke on the damn thing.
I'll smile and wave back at him.
Hmm. But upon this announcement being sounded out to the rest of the town, you are immediately approached by the very same magic items shop owner, Katie, who makes her way over to you and says, "Oh, you're really going to go and have at the thing, are you?"
Indeed. Have at
Well,
it properly.
are you gonna how obviously your dwarven fellow here isn't gonna run into this, but how are the three of you going to be dealing with the poison gas?
The poison gas. What poison gas?
Yeah. The gas that comes out the mine.
Oh, no one had
It
mentioned.
doesn't bother the dwarves, but if I go in there, it makes me feel all woozy after maybe a minute at most.
No one had mentioned
Sounds
the
like
poison gas.
Kargar, sounds like this will be your job alone.
I've got an idea with regards to this anyway. Just on a sidebar, and I want to know what everybody else in the party thinks. But if we can make some sort of system for driving said wyvern out of the mines, or even better, just waiting for it to come out of the mines at night. If we can predict where it's coming out, we have a natural sort of element of surprise ambush kind of situation. You know, it's kind of blind as it comes out of a tunnel and enters the wide world. And if, say, a very large bag or net were waiting for it there, so that, you know, it exits the tunnel, it goes, oh, I'm fucking caught in a big net, and then we all run over with big sticks, or something more sophisticated. That might be a way of dealing with something that is not as risky as just running into its cave, going, oh no, there's gas, I'm choking, let's fight this thing, stab, because that seems like a losing gambit.
We don't need to go into the cave anyway. We just let it leave and do its normal hunts. Just need a little bit of bait out there, and we can pick exactly where it's going to turn up.
I mean, yeah, we could set up something to cook something that it would find enticing to draw it out of the cave.
Yeah,
You don't even need to cook anything. Just walk around outside.
that's true, but if we're walking around outside, it's a wyvern, it's got aerial attack, it's got a lot of things going for it. If it's in a cave and making its way out of a cave, you can pick an area where it's enclosed. It doesn't have the ability to gain height and flight, and then you can tie its wings to its sides via ropes, nets, whatever. Wyvern suddenly becomes a lot less terrifying. Also, if it's in a cave, it's less able to do big swinging attacks with its tail. Poison gas down there causes some issue, and it also means that the wyvern's probably not affected by it either.
Why does it not affect the dwarves?
This is something that you wouldn't know. Dwarves have a natural resistance to all poison-like effects. It's what imparts dwarves with a greater ability to drink than most other races.
Yeah.
They are generally speaking immune to what you would consider to be impotent poisons.
Is there a apothecary in the town that can produce us some kind of poison resistant potions? in order to deal with any kind of breath attacks it might have.
Well, do we need potions for that? Like, surely we should find some sort of spongy material and stick it in a mask.
It takes a little more than that, and if we're not going to go into the whole ins and outs of
Oh, I know, but
filling
I'm
filling
not
bags
saying-
filling bags with powdered charcoal and gauze and various other things. But yeah, it takes more than a sponge that to deal with gas.
Can we not just like get some crocheted cloth and put some loopies on it behind our ears and protect ourselves from anything?
So Katie runs the magic shop, yeah?
She does.
Okay.
And she is still she's still hanging around nearby if you feel you need
Yeah.
to ask her any questions.
I think we need to talk to Katie about this because Katie, A, is from the town, B, will have contacts with the other shopkeepers, and C, might have some suggestions herself for it. So I'm going to go, Katie, darling, how is it you would deal with this? Do you know what type of gas it is? Are there potions? Do you have a face mask of poison resistance that you might be able to sell us? Is there something we can do that we can buy that she can acquire from us or for us, or generally point us in the right direction if she doesn't?
Well, upon asking her that great many questions, she looks for a moment with a bit of confusion and says, I can just tell you what I know. It's a gas that seems to get put off by the rocks in there, and it's got a couple of curious qualities to it, but the most important ones are that it mixes with water to make something that's very acid burny, and if you inhale it, it makes you drowsy. And lastly, if you hold an open flame to it, it ignites. It goes boom, and it's not one of those explosions that is capable of blowing out windows. At least not if there's only small amount of it. But it makes a big wall of fire that progresses forward, and it's very unpleasant.
So, am I right in assuming then that if we were to walk down one of the tunnels and create a positive wind blowing into the tunnel, and then throw something that's mildly, flammable, we would create a wall of fire that would burn that gas out as it went in front of us?
Yeah. You could say if you had a burning arrow, you could fire one into the entrance to the cave, and that would set everything off. But it wouldn't collapse anything. If that's what you're hoping for.
No, don't want to collapse anything. Don't want to collapse anything. I've got another question for you. Do you happen to know where we could get hold of a map of the caves or the mines up there? How many entrances are there? Is there a bigger entrance than others? Is there, multiple routes in there or just one?
I'm sorry, I don't really know about the cave proper. I only really know about the gas because I chatted to a friend about it some time ago. You wouldn't happen to know the mining shop, would you?
Yes.
It's run by an old fella across the river.
Yes, we met the mining shop. Sells magical picks.
Yeah, that's easy. The guy who owns that place, he runs the shop, but he knows a lot more about the mine as well. He's an ex-miner.
Fair enough. Aren't we all? Boom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he ends with his triangle just to help you out.
Damn it, Trig, I was thinking
So-
it, but I wasn't going to say it.
So it becomes a dumb ting then. Good to know.
Lovely.
Yes. But
So yeah, you wanna go talk to him.
Excellent.
If you want that kind of info. But if you intend to go in there, I do have something that might be able to help you out. Back at my shop, I've got a wand that you could buy or rent it. Assuming you. Yeah. I think I'd have to ask you to buy it.
I think that's fair.
Um,
That's a fair request. Yeah, we could always sell it back to you
the-
when we come back. It might be worth more. You could go. This is the one that destroyed the dragon, and get a good markup on it. I'll even autograph.
Yeah,
How's
that
that?
sounds good.
Done.
It casts a spell that makes people unaffected by poisons and such.
There we go. That's perfect. How many casts has this got?
I think it gets 4 a day.
Oh, funnily enough. And how long does that last for?
Oh, it lasts a good long while. I think 8 hours.
Right, I think we've got a solution there. We'll take one of them.
Right, okay. Come back over to the shop later on, and I'll get you sorted with that. Okay, I'll come over to my shop in an hour or two. I'll have it found by then.
Smashing. And if you've got anything that can resist fire or increase me armor a little bit, I'm feeling, I dragons and wyverns and so on. They're a bit sharp and spiky. It's not always nice when they.
I can help you with the armor. That
Lovely.
much I can do.
Lovely. Right. Well, we'll see you in an hour. We're going to go off and have a chat with this mining shop chap.
Righto. Bye bye for now.
Take care. Right.
Yeah, so she just carries on what she's doing. She looked like she was busy shopping for some groceries at the time you were chatting with her, but you see her making her way back towards her shop shortly afterwards.
Groovy. Well, that seems to have solved the poison question. I do like the idea of creating a firewall of some sort. Although draconids are not usually that phased by things, but it might be nice to clear it out just in case it comes and gets us later. So to speak. We'll see. We'll see. A couple of burning torches.
Well, with
and
that
so on.
said,
Go on.
as you make your way over to the mining shop once again, the Golden Pickaxe as it's known.
You missed it. Should have been the golden axe. It so should have been the golden axe. You tell me you know the game Golden Axe.
I don't.
Doesn't know.
There's been maybe 30 different versions of that game.
I feel like I've heard of it.
Golden Axe was an arcade game that was massive in the late 80s,
90s.
early 90s, very early 90s. Yeah. It was on the Sega Genesis and various other Sega games.
It was on everywhere. It was an arcade game as well.
Yeah. It was mostly seen in arcade games and Sega console. Very side-scrolly, There's a Golden Axe 2 as well, apparently, according to this. But yes.
There is. It's not as good.
No.
Well, It's not long before you find your way back to the Golden Pickaxe, and in doing so, you knock on the door and make your way in, up the stairs and to the side, and the same long bearded grey dwarf is standing there looking at you and gives a look of relieved surprise to see your party for a second time. As he calls out and says, "Oh, I see you managed to find somewhere to hide from the great beast."
Yeah, we did. We did. And now we're going to go and kick its ass. Well, not right now, but I don't suppose you've heard. Did you hear? Must have heard. Everyone knows.
Ah, well, I think you just told me you're planning to go slay it.
We're to slay the beastie. Yeah. Been offered a percentage of the takes of the mines if we can get the mine back open. Not
Oh,
sure.
that's awful generous.
You know what? I thought so too. We just, a decent negotiating strategy, I guess. Plus, if nothing's coming out of it, 100% of nothing is nothing.
Well, I always had my misgivings about that Bartha, but I suppose if he's willing to put up some of the town funds to see that mine's back open again, then he can't be all bad.
Oh, trust me. Having misgivings about people in government is never a bad thing, and I don't think you're far wrong there. Not the best dealing. We got a fair deal out of him at the end. We won't say any more. Gave our word not.
Right then.
Got some questions
So-
about the mines, though.
I had a feeling that you might, given that what you're about to get started on. Ask away.
Lay of the land and all that. These mines. Are there any extra caves? Is there one entrance, two entrances, many entrances? How do we get in there? Gas, I hear, as well. How big's this wyvern?
Right.
The general lowdown.
Okay, I'll explain what I can. I'm afraid I don't have a map for you, but I can give you a pretty easy idea.
Okay.
As of right now, there's only one confirmed way in. There was once two. One that you could access closer to the town, and another that was able to be accessed some way away. But the further entrance has been collapsed for some time now. It collapsed shortly before the wyvern turned up, and well, then since that point, we haven't been able to get in there to clear it out.
Sure.
The upshot of that is that there is a bit of a through draft that should keep the air from being too stale. Speaking of, the gas. It's fine for dwarves to breathe it for an extended period, though it's recommended that you don't spend any more than half a day in there. For non-dwarven folks, it's an unpleasant experience pretty much from the get-go, and if yourself was to step in there, I'd give it at best a minute before you started seeing double and things of that nature.
Right.
I hear that the experience is like the worst hangover you've ever felt in your life.
Oh no. Two, maybe 3 pints worth.
A bit worse than. Oh wait, no, you're not a dwarf. For someone of your size, that sounds about right.
Oof. Bobby is not strong with the alcohol. Okay.
You see the old dwarf actually pulls out a hip flask and just takes a swig of it. And then continues saying, "Right, and regarding the gas, I'm afraid that just simply setting it off will clear it out for a time, but it quickly replenishes itself. The reason why there's been traditionally two entrances is to ensure that it doesn't end up getting too concentrated. if you were to clear it out with burning it, that would certainly deal with the issue in the immediate short term, but it's only temporary. Ideally, you just simply want to go about going in there and not actually setting it off in the first place.
Okay.
What is noteworthy, though, is that typically the person who sets it off is not the person who gets burned the worst. It seems as though that for some reason, in the past, when a spark's been lit and set off the gas in the mines, then the person who ended up setting it off was the one who came out the least worse for wear.
I see.
That said, if you're planning to go in there and fight the beast yourself, the fact that the gas poisons you is an unpleasant enough experience as it is. I cannot recommend that you three go in there without first having some method for dealing with that.
We think we might have. Somebody mentioned it might be you might be able to dissolve this gas into water.
Oh,
Would
I suppose that makes sense. There's a river that runs through. There's a bridge inside the actual. Oh, actually, one of the questions that you had was what the layout of the mine is,
Yeah.
and that's pretty simple. It's there's an entranceway that leads through a corridor to a large staging area where most of the valuables are kept, like the mining equipment, the storage, the processing of the gold ore, etc. There's a large flat area where all of that happens. There's then a bridge that goes over the underground river, which then leads into the active mining fronts. If you were to carry on from there, you'd hit the other collapsed entranceway. However, if you were to veer off to the side from hitting that corridor, you'd find yourself in an area where the most valuable gold ore is found, or at the very least was found at the time the mine shut down. Given that the wyvern is most likely to have decided to set up in that specific spot, my guess is that you'll basically be having to go down to the deepest point to be able to find the beast.
Okay. An underground river, you say? Is it fast
Aye.
flowing?
It is quite fast flowing. I said to you that there were only 2 confirmed entrances, one of which was collapsed. Point there being confirmed. The other one is unconfirmed. We have reason to believe that those who are particularly strong swimmers could, in an emergency, dive into the river in order to make a quick escape from the mine. Though personally, there's only been one example of somebody jumping in that water and they ended up coming out the other end as a dead body.
Oh, fuck that. That sounds terrifying. Okay, but okay. I'm getting a cunning plan here, guys.
What might that be?
Well, we could build a temporary dam in that area. We could raise the water level to flood out the lower areas temporarily. That would push out the wyvern into this staging area and possibly outside, where we could set up an ambush for him.
I'd be surprised if you'd be able to stop the flow of the river. At least from the outside, if you were to how do I put this? You know how sometimes the water comes out the rocks?
Yep,
Just kind of trickles out of a crack.
yep.
Imagine that, but bigger.
I'm
That's what the river's like.
Yeah, we have some experience with this.
Right. Well, if you do think that you'd be able to block the flow of the water, that's certainly something that you could do, though. I'm not entirely sure if the river water would end up coming out of the main entrance first.
Okay.
It's worth pointing out that the deeper you go into the mine, it doesn't exactly go down.
Goes. Okay.
It kind of goes up and down, if you will.
Gotcha.
You might get it to the point where the wyvern's stuck in an air pocket, but I don't think you'd be able to flood it out. I don't think.
No, and that
You'd
leaves
probably
us.
piss it off if you were to do that, though.
It would probably piss it off. Yes. Eventually, it might run out of air. Especially if it's stuck there. You know, how does this wyvern deal with the gas? Then I guess it's not. It doesn't cause it any problems. Mind you, wyverns are pretty poisony, aren't they?
Aye, I don't know a particularly great amount about wyverns, but generally speaking, if a creature is able to wield a particular substance, then it tends to be resistant to that particular substance.
Yeah, I was just going. I'll raise my shirt and show him the scar. I don't know a huge amount, but we've had our dealings with them.
Is that recent?
Recent enough.
I'm surprised you're still walking.
I'm stronger than I look.
Either that or you got some good healing.
That too. That too. Yeah. Yeah, they're nasty, and I'd really rather not have any more of those, if possible.
Right. If you're gonna be going in there is something that I can give you.
Go on.
He pulls out what looks like a jewelry box. Inside of this jewelry box, he reveals there to be a selection of about 6 or 7 rings that appear to have this weird, clear, glassy gem that almost looks like it's a small puddle of fizzy water, only as if it were frozen in time as the gem on the end of these rings. And he says, "These are a ring that I figured out how to make using a particular crystalline substance that I've been able to get imported from Donheim. Basically, what they do is when they encounter a particularly great influence of a particular substance, you can activate it in order to absorb that substance and effectively attune to it. Are you familiar with firestones?
Oh.
Excellent. Think of these as being like firestones, except without the fire. And they're looking for something to take into attune to. If you were to be exposed to a great wave of fire from either yourself setting off the gas or perhaps the wyvern launching one of its fireballs at you, you'd be able to use this to save yourself from just one explosion. Typically, the miners that would work in the mine would have these things ready and would be able to use them to save themselves in case some dickhead decided to, I don't know, light up a smoke in the middle of the cave. It's happened more than once. These things have saved many a life. They're expensive, though. So if I were to let you have them, I'd demand 100 gold apiece. Although obviously I'd give you the money back if you came back and they were still unused.
Done.
Right then. I presume that each of you would want one? So that'll be 100 gold from each of you.
Done and done.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
This
I took that out.
you can go ahead and each of you add to your inventory a ring of elemental absorption.
Cool.
Basically, anytime you take a instance of damage that aligns to the draconic elements, so that being fire, cold, lightning, acid, and poison, you can use your reaction to activate this ring in order to completely negate one element, at which point the ring is consumed.
Okay.
Sorry, repeat that. I was in the middle of searching the ring. It's anyway,
Right.
typing the thing.
And is that consumed for forever, or for the day, or does it regenerate, or?
It's consumed forever. Once you activate this ring with your reaction, it completely nullifies any amount of damage. So if a wizard were to hurl a fireball at you and you use this, fireball's gone.
Okay.
The ring would completely suck in the fireball and you wouldn't have to worry about it. And once you use it, the ring then becomes attuned to the element that it absorbed, and it can no longer ever absorb any more elements. That's its protection value nullified and done away with.
Can it do anything once it's attuned?
Yes, you can use it for the general purposes in which you would use a firestone. The more damage it absorbs, the greater the potency of the resulting firestone, and if you were to use it for any other element, you would have an equivalent stone of that element. For example, you could use this to make a lightning stone if you so wished, which would effectively amount to a small taser.
That could be useful. Be a fun party trick when you shake people's hands.
Hmm.
It would.
Be
You
very
might
useful
impart
indeed.
permanent nerve. You might impart permanent nerve damage if you were to use it for that purpose. But yeah.
I mean, you say permanent nerve damage, just get a cleric, it'll be fine.
Yeah. I'll be back in just 2 minutes.
Okay.
You know, you don't really need a cleric. You can just take a long rest. 8 hours kip, you'll be right as rain.
Okay. I've got right. Tell me if this idea is completely mental. We're going to need a big net. Ideally, a big net with lots of weights around edges and maybe some hooks and some stuff tied into it to make it entangle and be generally unpleasant to get involved in. We go into this main entrance hall area and set the net up across the roof. We also rig up a couple of little surprises that are a bit of a throwback to things we've done in the past. I'm thinking explosives. I'm also thinking whale gas. We basically set up a rock concert at the far end of the room with our backs to the actual exit, so we can make a sharp runaway if it gets a bit too hairy, and start making a lot of noise. And see if we can't get the wyvern to come out and appreciate our music. And once he's into the kill zone, so to speak, we drop the net on him. If we can get a net round him so he's lost the power of flight, and ideally just push the fucker into the river is one option. Gas him with the whale gas is another option. I'm not sure if that will work because he's living in a gassy environment and not being affected. But nonetheless, that whale gas did affect dwarves. if that works, we could end up with a friendly wyvern on our hands. Because that was, a basically gas of charm. In which case, bonus, we've got ourselves a new pet. If not, we've got some explosives. At which point we basically shove the explosives up his jackseat and turn him into lots and lots of bits of wyvern patty. And if that doesn't work,
Good
we stab him
thinking.
with many, many pointy sticks.
I like the second to last one. He's not going to be armored from the inside.
Yeah, exactly. I got that idea from the boys. Is how you deal with a superhuman. If they have explosive-proof skin, you make them eat the explosive.
Given how sick and twisted the boys was, I'm surprised that they never decided to try and use the Invisible Man's flesh as a suit of armor.
They exploded the Invisible Man into millions of little bits. He was very, very pulverized. They did, however, make a very, very small person climb up inside someone's penis, and then he sneezed because he'd taken too much cocaine and became full size, thus turning the person who he was inside at the time into pate. They turned a lot of people into small, chunky bits in that show. It's a pity it got a bit on the woke side here and there, but I enjoyed the
I
book.
believe the entirety of season 3 was dedicated to bashing Trump.
It definitely had hints of it. I still enjoyed it. I don't take these things too personally.
They had a spin-off as well with Period Girl.
Oh God, Period Girl was horrific. Oh no, have you seen the spin-off? I can't remember what it was called. It was really bad. But they had
Generation V.
Generation V. They had this girl who could control. Basically, how like some people can control water and stuff. Well, she could control her periods. So she would have a period, and then she could make it into a blood blade or blood spikes or stuff. It was nasty. I'm just gonna say that's just nasty.
That is exceptionally vile.
Uh-huh. I think she ended up being it was just blood that she could mance or whatever. But yeah, she found out by exploding her parents with her own period. Which is just fucked.
Ah.
There you go, spoilers.
And there's me thinking that the worst character in all of that was the man with the prehensile penis.
Oh no, that was mild. That was mild compared to Period Girl. Yeah, we were watching going, I I mean, how do you react to that? That's just nasty. Who comes up with that shit?
Feminists.
Yes. Power of their vagina compels them.
That reminds me of the feminist who decided to take her own yeast infection and use it to bake bread, and then sold it at a fair.
What's the face? What's the face? The fucking Oh God, what's her name? The actress. There's an actress that made fucking vagina-scented candles based on the scent of her own.
Oh,
vagina.
yeah.
Oh, the
Gwyneth
Goop
Paltrow.
Girl.
Gwyneth
That's
Paltrow.
the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was her.
Fuck.
Why are women like this?
We gave them the vote, and it's been downhill since then.
Yeah.
Seen and not heard, and if they start getting a bit gobby, beat them with a stick. I jest, of course.
Is
Yes,
that why
you
there's
only
a
beat
stick
them a
by the
little.
door?
That's one of the reasons why there's a stick by the door. Yes.
What,
Also
just in
burglars.
case an unprompted woman arrives?
Yes, quite. Quite. So, Ginge, did you hear any of my rambling about insane plans of holding a rock concert for the wyvern?
I heard something along those lines, yes. I believe one of your plans was to stealthily set up a large and heavy net on the roof of the cave
Yes.
that the wyvern was staying in.
Yes.
Hmm.
Well, you see,
Yes, I can't see any issues there at all.
well, you see, I have this idea. You see, we've got a member of the party which has an ability called Song of Creation,
Uh-huh.
and I would
I
imagine
think
that
I've heard of this.
a large fishing net is not beyond his capabilities.
It's not beyond his capabilities, no. However, I do question the viability of spending however many minutes it would take to nail such a thing to the ceiling of a cave, whilst at any moment a wyvern could wonder, ooh, I wonder what that sound of hammers hitting nails is.
Oh, there's a way around that. We summon a net gun which has nails on each corner, so when you fire it, it just nails itself to the roof.
We don't need to
Mhm.
nail it to the roof either.
I
I
don't,
mean, I'm
yeah.
assuming there's rafters and so on up there. And if we went in there, quietly, there are a couple of hobbits in the party who are pretty good at being quiet and sneaky. We're not strong, but we're quiet and sneaky and can climb things, like mountains. We might take a rope up there, find a point to winch it, and then just sort of winch it up there, fairly quiet-like. With the idea of dropping the fucking thing on its head when it breaks in to the area.
So, planning aside, a couple of details that would be worth making sure you're aware of.
Okay.
First of all, the owner of the golden pickaxe has agreed that you can have these rings of elemental absorption, but he's going to charge you 100 gold for each one.
Yep.
However, he's also willing to give you a full refund and return, assuming you make it back alive.
Yep.
With that second offer effectively being him contributing to your success.
Yeah.
However, the wand that Katie, the owner of the magical trinket shop, has offered you, that isn't going to be quite so cheap.
No, I imagine
It's
not.
She has also offered to buy it back off of you in the event that you are able to come back and survive, but she's asking for 800 gold for it.
Okay. I don't know about anybody else, but I can
Oh.
I can literally afford that from my stash. We're all a bit on the low
Well,
side.
I've already deducted for the ring
Yeah.
because that sounds like it could be useful in a pinch. But I'm going to probably skip the wand myself. So, I mean, how many of these wands are there?
There's one wand. It's got 4 charges per day.
Mhm.
And yeah, if you can afford it, then you probably are the one who should take it.
Well, you don't need
We
it.
don't exactly want you in the front line.
Yeah, but we're a bunch of bards. There isn't a front line. We've got one person that's got the ability to tank a hit or two from this.
Also, what the wand actually does is it casts the spell Protection from Poison.
Yeah.
Which I've just linked here in the D&D room. I was misremembering it. It is not 8 hours, it is 1 hour.
Yep.
You touch a creature. If it is poisoned, you neutralize the poison. If more than one poison afflicts the target, you neutralize one poison that you know is present, or you neutralize one at random. For the duration, the target has advantage on saving throws against being poisoned and has resistance to poison damage. For that purpose, you are effectively gaining the dwarven trait of resistance to poison, which means that you can go 12 hours in the cave without needing to make a saving throw.
Yep. So we're basically dwarves for an hour, sort of.
Yes. It is also worth pointing out that using this on a given person would impart the ability to drink like a dwarf too, but that's, a side benefit.
Definitely keeping that bond.
You may be able to drink like a dwarf, doesn't mean you'll be able to outdrink me.
I'm not trying to outdrink an actual dwarf, but any halfling that can drink is, kind of impressive. Right. Okay. One's not too much of a problem. Rings, I've already deducted. I don't know if everybody else has. I know Coat said he had.
I did.
Yeah.
What I've deducted for the ring, I'm actually quite poor. I've only got about 200 gold.
Yeah, you've
Really?
been spending a lot. I've got like 1,800. I've got 1,700.
Well, yeah, I spent most of it on the parlour.
Yeah, you did.
Well, how much do we have in the bag of holding? Because I know there was some being stored there.
Unless you specify otherwise, I'm assuming that you only have about 50 gold pieces on you at any given time. The rest of it is just simply in the bag of holding, and you keep track of how much of what's in the bag is yours.
Yeah, sounds about right.
That's
Fair
to
enough.
stop you from, walking around and sounding like a small bank just rolled by.
Also, I would not be able to carry that. Not with my
No.
strength stats. Yeah, we've got the bag of holding. Yeah, whatever. Can we do anything about armor, as I earlier requested?
When you arrive at Casey's place and she tells you about the details of the wand, she also offers you a +1 suit of studded leather armor.
Lovely.
That would run whoever wants to buy it about 1,300, though. If you want to roll me a check of some kind to try and persuade her down a little, we'll see how that goes.
I'm definitely going to have a crack at that.
You want some inspiration on that one?
Unless we're going to go and do this thing in this before having a long rest, or a short rest even, we can recover them. Sure. But I'm going to try and do my utmost at generally being persuasive and charming and etc. About haggling on that front. But yes, I would definitely
Go ahead and make your roll.
have a persuasion check on this. 25, how's that?
25 is pretty decent. You're able to haggle her down to 1,100.
1,100. Done.
Now, due to the basic nature of the +1 studded leather armor, I recommend that you type it into the compendium in Roll20 and simply drag it into your character sheet.
Already on that one.
Very good. Is there anything else that anybody else wants to ask about in regards to potential magic trinkets and other things of that nature? If memory serves, this is possibly the first time your party has encountered somewhere that seems to be properly stocked with magical arms and armor. All right, sounds like everybody's satisfied with their current gear.
Yeah, I think I'm happy with what I got.
Not really sure what I'd change.
Is your triangle magical?
I don't think the triangle needs to be magical.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out, so I'm not really sure why it would have to be.
And an enchanted triangle that does, I don't know, water or fire damage or something.
Hmm.
Maybe it sings the voice electric.
I just need to mute my mic for a moment. Right.
Hold on, I dropped to 24 studded leather armor. I don't think it's any different, but I'm just going to remove that. Machine rules it. Okay.
That's right, yes.
Whatever the new one is, it'll probably just be a stone but woke.
As far as I know, when it comes to armor, there is no difference between the 2020, the 2020 and the 2024 stuff.
Yep.
I don't know, no Wizards of the Coast, they've probably specified that it has to have a codpiece on female armor sets or something.
Yep, it's in rainbow colours. Right, groovy. Okay, so we've got the studded leather armor. I have deducted a very sizable chunk of gold from my inventory. I am sorted on that front. Would agree. My armor class is now 7.
Yeah.
Not bad for a halfling bard. Still not great, but you know, he might be able to do.
Not only that, not only have you managed to upgrade your armor, but you've managed to do so without imparting a disadvantage to stealth.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so.
Typically, the more protective variants of a given armor class impose disadvantage on stealth checks, which is
Yes.
always funny whenever you see a paladin trying to sneak.
Oh, I had a I famously had a rogue that had disadvantage on all of his stealth checks because he had leather.
Plate mail?
Not plate mail. He had dragon skin armor, which was essentially classified as medium armor rather than light armor. And yes, that's okay. He would roll very, very highly on both and just take the lower one every time. He didn't really set him back too much, apart from when it was extremely funny and, you know, the dice decided to be dicks.
Yes. Well, when you're rolling with disadvantage, the chances of getting the chances of rolling a natural 1 massively spike.
I was playing...
I mean...
Sorry, go on.
There are some cases where having specific armor that would otherwise impart a disadvantage should, I think, impose advantage instead. Say, for example, you're a rogue wearing full plate and you're sneaking around in a castle.
Yeah, there are also some skills that some people have where they get to roll multiple dice and choose whichever one they like. Having a disadvantage roll just gives them an extra dice roll.
Oh, I was more just thinking, you are sneaking around in the castle in your full plate as a rogue. You can simply stand against a wall and remain motionless and immediate stealth.
Ah, yes,
Yeah.
the old Scooby-Doo trick.
I mean, that would
Pretend.
certainly work, and depending on whether or not your plate mail was part of a designated uniform, you might be able to get away with just simply walking through the place without needing to make any form of check whatsoever.
True.
Ah, yes, there goes one of the soldiers.
That's more of a disguise at that point rather than a stealth, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I under those circumstances, I would say roll performance, but choose either choose either your charisma or your dexterity.
Best career. The best kind of rogues, if you ask me. It's how rogues should be played as high charisma characters. Right.
So, with all of that said,
They're basically less
What?
musical versions of us.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. With all of that said, what is your plan? Because it sounds like you have one.
Well, I don't like the idea of taking on a very large wyvern in a straight-up fight. So
Again.
again, yeah. If this one's bigger than the last one, we definitely need to give ourselves an advantage. Which is why I was thinking about nets or some way of delivering a net onto it, because reducing a wyvern's ability to fly to 0 and its ability to maneuver around to low is a great advantage for us. The other bit of the plan I've got is, do you remember the whale? Ginge.
I do remember the whale.
Do you remember
How could
that,
I forget the whale?
that we are now able to create the gas that the whale created?
What are you getting at exactly?
Well, that gas is a non-magical charm gas. Not.
In effect, yes.
A non-magical charm gas with no duration. It's just until it is dispelled by the saliva of the sky whale.
Which we don't happen to have any of. Uh-huh. So I was thinking if we could basically pin this fucking thing down, stick a bag over its head and gas the fucker, maybe in a small area with some wooden doors. Somewhere nice and airtight. Ba-boom. Then we might end
You're
up with a nice
planning to
a nice wyvern friend. It's a possibility.
Okay. Yeah, I can see where you're going with this.
And if that doesn't work, we also, can make explosives, and at which point we just basically, I think, introduce some explosives into a sheep and then throw the sheep at the wyvern or something along those lines and see if it enjoys its nice spicy snack. Bang.
Okay, well, you need to settle on a plan and start actually going through with it.
Yeah. So those are my two ideas of the plan. Does anybody else have
Cool.
anything slightly less, insane? And if so, let's hear it. And then I suggest we work out which ones we're happy with going ahead with, and and let's get that plan into motion.
Well, whilst I have nothing against your plan, I think it'll be quite a lot of fun. Obvious alternative is if we don't want to deal with the flying wyvern, if we fight it in caves after we ignite wherever the gas is,
Yeah,
we could just fight it in the caves. We know we can take on wyverns. We've done it before.
I agree, and I would say certainly indoors. Yes, is where we want to take it. I don't fancy fighting one of these things outdoors at all.
The other thing we might want to consider is our mission is to kill it, not to train it. So we might not get our reward if we come back with a pet wyvern instead.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure that mayor would love to say, "Oh, look, they were controlling all the time. Get them."
Yes. Don't
Get them
care.
in their wyvern.
Don't care. We've got a pet wyvern.
True, but I mean, you're the one who wants shares in the gold mine.
I would certainly, like the money, but money can't buy you a wyvern. However, a wyvern can get you money.
Money can literally buy you a wyvern.
Yes.
You already know this.
Yes, but a wyvern can also get you money.
If you really want a wyvern that bad, why don't we do this proper? Get the gold mine, use that to buy an already trained wyvern from one of the people who train wyverns. Because I mean, I'm not sure we're going to have a lot of luck training it ourselves.
No.
And I mean, it'll be hilarious to watch Bobby be a snack in the morning, when someone forgot to stand watch.
It's a fair point. So
I did have a thought about one thing, Trig.
come on.
If after we've slain or trained the wyvern, we might want to push our advantage with the mayor here to get maybe a letter of recommendation so we can go to the king's court and put on a gig there, the dwarf king.
I mean, certainly. I wouldn't count on much from a government official that we've strong-armed. That said, government officials are known to play whichever side suits them best, and not hold grudges too much if it's not to their advantage. They can always get revenge later on. They are, after all, the worst of human, or dwarven kind, or any kind. I'm not even sure they're human, even on the ones on this planet. I think the lizards, the most of them. Anyway, my personal politics aside, so yes, having a renegotiate later is, it's probably worth a go. I would imagine that the mayor would be very happy for us to be gone from his sight if we've caused him discomfort and awkwardness. A letter of recommendation to fuck off somewhere else might be well within his, scope of things he'd be willing to do. But matters aside, like that, let's deal with the wyvern, because big fucking sharp teeth, claws, and spikes and fireballs need dealing with first before we start counting our money.
Yes.
Speaking of, who has bought the wand of protection from poison?
How much was it again?
It was 800 gold.
I can chip in half
And-
of that without batting an eyelid, but I've got 600 and change left at the moment, so I can't go all of it in.
Katie has also offered to buy back the wand for the full price, assuming you survive.
Right.
Sorry, I was yelling, but anyway, I'll pitch in the other half.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay.
So I reduced
So the
400
pair of
from
you-
my thing, and yeah.
Oh yeah.
The pair of you deduct a 400 from your own accounts, and whichever one of you is going to be wielding the wand Know that it counts as a magical focus and can be used to cast spells through.
Okay. Coat, do you want that?
Not really.
Okay. Well, okay, so yep. Where am I doing? Where's my brain? There's my brain. Okay, 400 gold deducted, and it is a wand of
Protection from poison. It has 4 charges and regains 1d4 charges each sunrise. Normally, wands of this variety would also have an additional clause that states that every time you deplete the wand, you roll a d20, and on a 1, the wand disintegrates. However, I'm not a cunt, so I'm not going to impart that part.
what was it? 4 uses daily.
4 uses daily, gains 1d4 charges back each sunrise.
Lovely. Right. Okay. They've got the wand, the armor, got the rings of elemental absorption. We've got a plan. There's only one entrance in and out for a wyvern to travel. And we've got a little bit of a lay of the land, it being a tunnel in opening into a large room with a stream at one end, and then an entrance that goes further into the mine beyond that.
Mm-hmm. That is the vague description that you have been given, or at the very least, that's how you remembered it.
Yep. Anybody else have any
So-
other ideas or any additions to the plan, or which? So we're not going to go for the gassing it. We're going to go for the blowing it up with explosives. Yes, is that right?
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to blow things up. That sounds like fun. I mean, are we still going to try and capture it before we blow it up in the net, incapacitate it, or just
Well,
go in
Oh,
the
we were just-
cave where it can't fly?
I mean, put it in a position with a net so that it can't get away is a damned good idea.
I can, if it helps, I can make it see something that doesn't exist. Now, I was thinking of just a box over his head, nice and simple, blind the thing. But if anyone's got any better ideas, I am open to suggestions.
How about a
Not really.
I mean,
really
the old stone classic sounds great to me.
really sexy female wyvern?
I can't do them that big, I'm afraid.
Okay, in that case, I think what you see, if we basically stick a net over the entrance, or a net furled up across the top of the entrance to the cave, so that as it's coming down down there, we can drop the net down, so as it comes out, it gets all tied up into the net. It's probably the easiest, and we're not actually going into the caves at that particular point. We can use our instruments and various other stuff to sing songs, hurl abuse, and play music into the cave and the mine to attract its attention, and we'll probably be able to see it coming as it marches down there. We'll definitely be able to see it coming if we throw a few torches in first to, light the way and maybe burn out any of the gas in the initial room. If we've got it coming out the cave, dropping a net over it, and then essentially dropping the entrance of the tunnel on top of it by, sticking some explosives in the side of the tunnel. We've got the beginnings of a fairly decent plan. If that doesn't work, if it's then still tied up in a net and with rocks on it and it's still alive, well, we could go the old Haji route of, standing on top of it and sawing its head off whilst it's still alive.
Oh, yes.
Perfectly
fair and reasonable, not at all inhumane.
Sing a few ISIS songs,
This is what will happen to all you infidel wyverns. We captured a wyvern who was performing a journalistic investigation.
Oh dear, I'm going to hell.
When the Shire will never tolerate these wyvern journalists.
Indeed. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm game. It sounds like a plan. Go do it. Go fuck up a wyvern.
Okie dokie.
I just in D&D room reminded me of one of the edgy memes.
Oh. Oof. Yeah.
It's just so edgy.
Jamal Khashoggi did not die comfortably.
Natural causes, no.
No, I saw some fairly fucking horrible things about him. It does look a little bit like they might have cut his face off. Whilst he was alive as punishment, but that's what you get for fucking with Saudi Arabia.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Apparently.
yeah, they were not pleased with him.
No, they weren't.
No, they were not. Right, I'm gonna grab a beer, and then let's kill this fucking wyvern.
Okie dokie. In the meantime, I'm just playing around with a few bits and pieces. How do I do this? Okay, that's how I do this.
I'll be a couple minutes and go set the laundry going.
There we go, that works. My God, this is some delightfully dead air, isn't it? You know what? Let's call an official break here.
Oh, I was
Okay, I'm
about
back.
to say I'm back.
Oh.
Amazing.
Right, I had to go outside to get beer, and my headset dies when that happens.
Oh dear.
Okay, I'm back. I have beer. Things are good now. Right. No break. Let's kill wyvern.
Yes,
Sounds good
let's.
to me.
I'm just fiddling around with a map for a moment. There we go. That ought to do it. Right. So, you end up communicating to the owner of the golden pickaxe again, and during that conversation, you discover two things. First of all, his name is Gumry. Secondly, and more importantly, you discover that the way to get access to the area where the wyvern is believed to have set up, the main mining area, is basically you go up the way on the mountainside and then follow along a specific route, and eventually you'll find your way towards a little, I wouldn't say cove, but similar, a cave. And
So
with
like a
that,
cove, but with an A instead.
indeed. With that, I'm going to drag you over to the outside area, somewhere where I hope you recognize. Tell me, do those of you in the party recognize the map that I believe you should be able to see now?
Oh no! Oh no! Tell me, Ginger, are there perhaps goblins sitting atop that ridge?
It does look very, very familiar. Yes.
Is this prescient?
No, it isn't. Now, bear in mind, I currently am reusing an old map from an old campaign, and so for those who are wondering why it is that people in this campaign might be having a bit of reminiscing going on right now,
I didn't get that there.
this is what I'm seeing on my end of things. But obviously, you don't need to see all that.
Oh.
Nice.
Yes, the goblin shit fountain, the site of.
Yep.
And also the site
What
of where Groose got his army of tiny water minion things in his flask.
Hmm.
what happened to
I
all the
know this means
faces in the
nothing to me.
mountains?
What happened to what?
All the faces in the mountains.
What are you
Is-
talking about?
Well, the graffiti that was put there.
The graffiti's still there.
Not for us, it isn't.
Oh.
Well, yes, that's because I've just simply taken everything on this cave and I've sent it all to the GM layer. Yeah. I know that you're very proud of your graffiti, so I'll go ahead and post screenshots. But anyway, go ahead and drag your tokens onto the map, assuming you haven't already.
I forgot he wrote that article only 3 months before his death.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about Bobby, but I'm not bringing the dog into this one.
So
Last
leave
wyvern
it
we
for
fought-
now.
Last slightly smaller wyvern that we fought was well, it nearly killed him.
It did, but if I remember rightly, actually, Tank was almost MVP on that fight.
Tank was able to grab the thing and wrench it to the ground using sheer Brutus dog biting force.
Uh-huh.
Fair point, yeah.
Well, I'm going to keep Tank in the lineup. He's going to be on my side.
It's just occurred to me that Bobby is considerably too large.
He is.
There we go.
You know what? I'll bring Frizz. Why not? What's the worst that could happen?
Listen, I can't seem to drag Tank actually into the battle.
Can't you?
Oh. What happened is she.
There we go. I just dragged a token onto the area. Are you able to control them?
I can move it around. Yeah, that's cool.
Excellent. I'll just go ahead and move that to the back so that Bobby appears over Tank's face. And I will do the same for Frizz and Ushanka. And then there's Essig, who presumably has left his horse some great distance away.
I usually don't, well, and by usually I mean always don't bring it into combat, because it is a functional beast, not really intended for fighting. At least that I remember.
Yeah, war horses.
Yes,
can
it was
be
a draft
used in
horse.
battle, but...
No, mine's a draft horse.
Oh, yes. Yes, true. Draft horses are, well, they can fight, but they're very much not trained for it.
They can, but it's probably more effective for me to just leave him behind and keep using him as a functional creature.
Yeah,
Yes.
without a doubt.
Slash emergency rations.
Absolutely.
Just occurred to me,
So-
I never even thought about naming it.
I think
I
you
mean,
just
I
did.
think you just have.
Emergency rations?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So, your character tokens are on the battlefield. What you see before you is what your characters can see. What exactly is it that you're going to do?
I've properly renamed the character sheet now.
Yes, I can see you have.
That's the cave entrance, right?
That is the entrance to the cave. As far as you're aware, that particular entrance it brings into a natural cave that has then been expanded into a artificially reinforced gold mine.
Okay. And this tree in the middle is a big ass tree, right?
That is indeed a big ash tree. I will say that from your current position, you can both smell a slightly, vaguely unpleasant smell, but you can also see the cause of that vaguely unpleasant smell.
Cargo?
There appears to be yes, but also there appears to be a slightly purplish wafting gas emitting from the from the entrance to the cave.
What was your answer, Trick?
I said Cardgar.
Ah, probably.
Hey, sure you meant a Schenker.
I know what I said.
Grumble.
Speaking of Cardgar,
Yeah, okay.
how many Song of Creations have you got per day? It's like 1 plus.
Okay.
It's like 1 plus every third level spell slot, I think it is. Let me double check.
Right.
I believe it's second level spell slot.
Just checking. Second level, yep. So that would be a total of 5 uses.
Okay.
No, sorry, 4 uses.
And what are the details of that? Can you just make things happen and appear in a specific prescribed area or place?
Yeah, here you go. I have a wall of text.
Oh, goody.
But yeah, as far as I understand, it just instantly appears. There's no summoning time or ritual. Presumably, I have to do some sort of musical something to make it happen. Strum an instrument, sing a song.
Law.
I imagine the way I picture it is he plays a little ditty on his on whatever instrument he chooses to use at the time, and then all of a sudden the thing appears within about 10 feet of him.
Okay.
And it will last a number of hours of my proficiency, which I believe means 3 or 4 hours, which should be plenty for what we're doing.
Right.
Anything else you want to know?
Is that a pile of rocks about there?
That is a small pile of stones.
Right. Okay. My
I
plan.
recommend, by the way, that when you want to point to something on the map, you use the measuring tool. That way you don't have to be continuously pinging something.
Okay. I'd like pinging things. Sure. Fair enough. Okay. So using the measuring tool. Right. If we sort of create a net that's rigged up over there that drops down across this sort of area and is big enough to, entangle a large wyvern, and then
I do apologize for interrupting. There is one additional point that is worth making. That cave entrance, this map, in order for me to be able to, give you a map to work with, I've basically just reused this. But the entrance to the cave is about twice as big as what you see it is on there.
Okay, can we draw that in that case? I will.
Sure. I'll go ahead and draw an orange box into that area to give you an idea. You know what? That works. The entrance is about 3 squares across.
Oh, okay. Right. So let's just define those lines there as a cave. Fine. Now I'm going to ask:
If
can we create a net that will rest over that area there? That is droppable at a pull of a rope with a slip knot or something.
Theoretically, you could, though you may need to do some proper descriptions or roll some dice in order to measure how successful you are in your attempts.
Okay, fine.
I have a question on this. Because it says we can, I can do it in any unoccupied space within 10 feet of me. So I mean, if I'm close enough, I could summon it in a pre-deployed state, like already
You
attached
could,
to the
yes.
ceiling, as it were.
Possibly not pre-attached to the ceiling. Like, not completely ruling it out, but I suppose it is possible that you could do such a thing given the right circumstances. After all, in order to pre-attach it to the ceiling, there would need to be something for you to anchor it to. You're not going to be able to summon it with pittons already nailed into the ceiling, as well. The ceiling that would be you summoning it in a occupied space.
That's fair. I'm assuming it's got like wooden timbers holding it, sturdying up the cave roof, and
Actually, no. From the appearance from where you are right now, it appears to be a largely natural structure. It appears as though whichever dwarves carved this out seem to have been able to do so by leveraging the natural physics of the stone in order to make it so that it is stable in an archway configuration.
Okay, never mind then.
Dwarves are like that.
All right. Well, what we want then is, if we're still going with the net, then I am assuming, Trig, unless you disagree, some like a fisherman's type net, but with like hooks and bobs baked into it.
Sure. Yep.
Um,
To make it grabby and bitey and generally, a pain in the ass to get entangled with.
yeah. So yeah, is there anything about that was outside the realm possibility, Ginger? And if you're happy with it, how much net material do you believe we can get for 20 times my bard level in GP in gold, which would be, what was my level? 6 times 20, 120 gold.
For 120 gold, I would say that you're definitely able to get something that would cover a 10 by 10 area, which would be enough to cover about 3/4 of the entrance to the cave. If we're going off of the size of the wyvern that you have already killed, that would be enough to engulf it, though. What Bobby saw last night suggests that the one that you're going to be fighting shortly was a bit larger than that.
Oh, I suppose even a partial entanglement is still useful.
Yeah, absolutely. We just
Indeed it
wanted to get, if it gets over its face and into its wings, and it has to thrash about a bit and go, oh, what's going off? As we then explode what would be equivalent of a giant rock claymore into its face, using that pile of rocks with some explosives behind it and the tree on the other side of it, so that it's not blasting back too much at us.
Yeah, I can see where you're going with that. So my suggestion would be maybe we walk over to near the cave entrance.
Yep.
I summon it there so it doesn't have to be carried too far.
Yep.
And then those of us who are a bit more dexterous than Cardgar set it up.
Yep.
So
Regarding
All right.
explosives as well, I've got 2 barrels of blasting jelly. that aren't Song of Creation. They're proper barrels.
Right. Definitely add those to the mix. One on either side of the cave, perhaps? Not in the doorway, but just, on the side of it, ready to detonate as it comes through.
By the way, there is an interior to the cave should you want to take a look.
Anyone
Yes.
want to poke their head in?
I have multiple maps.
Go on. We'll have a quick look. We'll have a quick butcher's, but at this point, I think we're going to get ready to set up here. But yeah, why not? Why not? Bobby's small and sneaky enough to quietly have a quick look around and come back and shout out what he sees.
Okay, in
Maybe
that
don't
case,
shout
I will say anybody who is making their way into the cave, roll me a stealth check, and if you're only going in for a short period of time, no more than a minute, you won't need to worry about any kind of Constitution saving throws.
We'll do that, and if I notice the poison, yeah. Stealth check. Where's stealth? What's stealth? There we go. Yoink.
Bobby would be down here.
There he is. Okay.
I'll roll in just a moment. I've been otherwise occupied by cat yogurts.
I see.
That you do.
Varying
And
favours with the cats again, mate. Fair play.
From this perspective, you're able to see that the ceiling inside this initial area is about 30 feet up, and there is indeed a river running underneath. It appears as though there are two natural stone bridges, which, from the looks of things, have had some minor reinforcements done to them, which span over the length of this natural running river. Where it goes exactly, you're not entirely sure, but you also do have reason to suspect that there may be some connection to the pools of standing water outside of this particular mine. The gas that exudes within this cave, it's well, you're not having to breathe it in too much because I imagine Bobby is largely holding his breath in the time that he's here. But for the most part, it doesn't seem to sting your eyes, but it does obscure vision to a small degree. It gives everything in here a kind of pinkish purplish look to it.
So where are we planting these barrels then?
Not in here. Not yet. I think if it retreats in here after the initial fight, we're going to have to come in after it, which might not be very pleasant. At that point, we use the wand and everything else. But I don't like the idea of fighting with burning lungs and limited visibility in an environment that is one Constitution saving throw away from poisoning us.
I'm going to pull your view back to the outside again.
Yep.
As that, I imagine by the time the pair of you have started talking, that's you saying, right, let's get out of here before we start rolling Constitution saving throws.
That's it exactly, yeah.
So I'm still liking Plan B here. What are the odds we'll be able to squeeze one of these up its jacksie and light it?
We will save one behind for it. We've got to inserting a barrel into a wyvern that is uncooperative, shall we say, is probably more tricky than actually just killing it in the first place.
Could make it swallow it.
We could make it swallow it.
Make it swallow it without breaking the barrel? That'd be a feat.
Well, it doesn't have to be activated in a specific way, does it? Like a hard jolt does it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Oh, I've got a horrible idea. But it might work.
What are you thinking of?
Thinking of putting the barrel on the dog.
No.
That is a horrid idea.
Oh, don't you have a familiar?
I don't have a
I
familiar,
wasn't aware that that Bobby was a member of the Soviet Union.
No, but he can play the national anthem.
We will train it to attack tanks using our tanks.
Using our own tanks. Oh no, it's attacking our tanks.
I honestly don't even know if that's legitimately what happened, but that is funny.
That is
Yeah.
That is legitimately what happened.
Okay.
They
Good
trained
to know.
they trained the jihadi dogs to attack the to attack tanks by running underneath them.
They're not jihadi
Except
dogs.
they use the
They're brave. They're brave heroes of the Soviet Republic.
Communist stuff.
Oh Jesus! I can't believe I even
Look.
suggested it, but you know.
all I know is that the dog sheltered Aloha Barkbar before they went up.
We don't need to.
Russians, not even once.
We can put the barrels to the side of the cliff, and I can fucking hit him with a fireball. I don't even need to be close with the fireball.
I will say that you are aware that blasting jelly can be absolutely guaranteed detonated by exposing it to any amount of fire damage, lightning damage, or thunder damage.
Okay.
Do any of us have Mage Hand?
Let me just check. I've got a whole fucking bunch of spells. A lot of them I've never actually used.
I think some of us still have some of those Thunderstones, and you could get a Mage Hand to just throw it at the blasting jelly.
I actually do have Mage Hand as one of my millions of cantrips. I've got Vicious Mockery, Minor Illusion, Mage Hand, and Eldritch Blast, Booming Blade. I've got fucking so many spells, it's untrue.
Funnily enough, Eldritch Blast probably wouldn't set off blasting jelly.
No, I doubt it would. But a Mage Hand with a Thunderstone would, I'm assuming. Besides, we've got things like Shatter, we've got Fireball. I don't see Fireball being a massively useful spell in a Wyvern encounter.
I mean, Fireball into the cave might, explode all the gas in the cave.
Yes, but it's a Wyvern.
Yes,
it's a Wyvern. They're largely resistant to fire damage. Them being able to breathe fire and all would be a problem for them otherwise.
Mm-hmm. If memory serves, the previous Wyvern that you fought was quite happy to be in its own blast radius as it threw fireballs at you.
Yeah, that's my memory of it. So right, let's get this net sorted out. Let's get some explosives in place. I would suggest some stuffed into those rocks, so that if it comes near, we can blow the rocks up. We want to drop the cave entrance if we can onto it, at a high rate of knots, and then we give it the fucking beans. But I do think
All right.
Big Alpha Strike is probably the way forward here.
just to double check, Cardgar, have you summoned in the net?
If we're ready to it, I would like to summon it near to the cave entrance. So
All right.
there
Position your character tokens where you want to be for the purposes of summoning and setting up the net. Anybody who is going to be involved in doing so, do so. While Cardgar and Bobby are setting up the net, what are Piper and Essig doing?
Well, I was
Okay,
just
can
going
I
to ask
help?
them if they want, because I am very dexterous, so I could probably help with this.
Probably a good
Oh,
idea.
even
And
better.
you're an elf. Elves are good at climbing and this type of
In
shit.
which case, what do I need to roll?
You're setting up a net, so if you have anything specific that you think would be a good fit, go ahead and roll it. If you don't
Arguably
have anything
acrobatics or sleight of
particular-
hand. Either or is the same number, so if either of those count, it doesn't really matter which one I roll.
Well, I would argue that setting up a net, for the purposes of setting up a net, the most useful skill that you could do would probably be survival, as well.
Oh,
That's
really?
exactly what people in survival situations do. They set up nets for capturing wild animals.
Okay, so
I,
that's less about the physical activity than the understanding of how to do shit.
I make
Yes,
it
if
easier
you're
for them.
operating. Hang on a moment, Kiki. If you're setting up the net without predetermined knowledge of how to do so, just generally rolling a generic dexterity roll would be the second best option. Although you wouldn't be able to do so with proficiency.
If I do it by jumping and doing somersaults and cartwheels up the side of the cave, can I
You
do
would
it with a
impart
performance?
yourself disadvantage.
But can I do it as
Can
a
I,
performance roll?
Can I set up a rope trick alongside
Anyway,
where the net's being installed?
anyway, I'm happy to roll a solid dex if. Anyway, so
Just out of
you
curiosity,
guys want me to help with that?
Yep.
How tall is the door? The cave. I mean.
There, 20.
Yeah, can I set up a rope trick alongside where the net's being installed, so they've got a decent anchor line to climb up?
Setting up a rope trick for that purpose does make sense, yes. And that dexterity check is pretty good, not gonna lie. So move your character token over towards the cave as you're setting this up, Essig.
Oh yeah.
And lastly, Cardgar, what was it that you were asking?
Just how tall is the cave?
It looks to be a little under 10 feet high at its highest point.
All right. I guess rope trick does the job then. I had a silly idea of using the parlor's door frame as something to stand on.
Yeah, rope trick's better. Plus, I can do some sort of weird performance up the rope trick thing, and do a performance roll. I'm assuming.
You can, but I'm not sure what effect that would be having on the overall result.
I have a +10 in performance.
It would inspire
Go
the
for
other
it.
workers into doing better work.
Which is a good job I did
All
because I got 15, so I rolled a 5 there.
As the party begins setting up the net over the entrance to the cave, Bobby decides to use the standing rope as effectively a medium through which to perform an impromptu session of pole dancing to entertain the rest of the party.
More
I
like
would-
rope
I
climbing
would ask-
thing that they do, but yeah. I'm not trying to gyrate or anything.
It would have been funny for me to say everybody of the same sex rolls with disadvantage, but anyway.
I'll make a point of directly pointing at Bobby doing this and expressing gay.
Besides expressing your disdain, what exactly is Piper doing to help in all of this?
I'll just help. Yeah, I mean, I'll just keep an eye on the rope trick, make sure to move it side to side as is necessary, because I can recast it multiple times with this wand.
Righto, sounds good. What I'm going to ask all of you to do now is to roll me a general purpose D100. This is to determine how noisy and overall noticeable you're being during this setting up.
Given I'm just standing back after the summoning, do I need to roll this?
Yes, but you don't need to worry too much. Okay,
Alright.
so we got a 65 from Trig.
Oh, I thought you just wanted
63
one.
from
Okay.
Godgar.
Oh, did you say D100?
Yes.
Yes, a D100.
Oh, apologies. I rolled a D20.
Good.
Hmm.
Let's roll a proper die.
A
I'd like to
D100
imagine
is
that
not a proper die. A
intelligence favours
D100 is a
fail.
fucking golf ball.
No, a D100's just a nice, simple 2D10.
True.
Correct.
No, it's
A
not.
D10, a D10, and a 10's 10. But yes, there are. But yes, I have seen D100s as a single die as well.
They are a bit retarded.
And you don't
And
need to have
extremely
one that's
expensive.
got zeros on it. It's you just predetermine which color of die is your 10's unit.
Yes, but
Mhm.
it looks nice that way.
So,
Also, sets of 7 dice usually include those anyway.
Mm-hmm.
as each of you go through the process of helping each other, communicating, offering words of advice, and all sorts of things along those lines, you seemingly do so without attracting the attention of the wyvern, resulting in you having a somewhat confidently positioned net above the cave entrance. Speaking of, that net is going to need some kind of trigger to make it drop, or else it's just simply going to be hanging out over the entire cave entrance. Which of those two options have you gone for?
We've got a long rope. I've got a rope. We can attach it to that and just have a rope pull.
Okay, makes sense. So
I
the
was
net is
figuring
set up.
manual, so yeah.
Basically, a knot
Right.
with a knot with a loop in it that's attached to the rope, so that when you pull the rope, the knot undoes, net falls. Job done. Dead easy. Even a fucking Cub Scout on his first day at buggery camp
Yep,
can get
makes
that.
sense.
I heard that.
Next up,
At Camp
what are you
Weepy
doing?
Pillow.
Camp what?
At Camp Weepy Pillow.
Yeah.
Oh, right, next we
So-
want to set up some explosives. And then our
Indeed.
instruments.
Who is contributing to the setting up of the impromptu claymore, and what exactly are you doing to do so?
Well, if we've got a bunch of rocks here, we stick a barrel of explosives sort of behind it, buried into the back of it. Not too difficult. You just move a few rocks, stick barrel in, and leave it there. It's going to be triggered by fireball or whatever.
Speaking of, that small pile of rocks upon closer inspection appears to be a ring of rocks that appears as though it would have at one point have been used for making some form of campfire. However, it's easy enough to pick up the various stones and rearrange them into a more shrapnel-like pattern.
Just want a big pile of rocks on one side so they go flying out and yeet whatever's in front of it.
You place the barrel behind that, so I'm going to go ahead and draw in a yellow blob. That is the barrel of blasting jelly.
Okay?
I will deduct
Now.
the barrel from the parlour.
And we've got one more, right?
There is one more barrel of blasting jelly.
Need me to add any to that, or do you think that's enough?
These are pretty big barrels, aren't they?
They're about a
Yeah,
foot
these
tall.
are think keg barrel that we've got on the desk downstairs.
Yeah, these are put a big fucking hole in the street of a city barrel. Yes.
Yes, the due to the confined nature of the cave in which you set off the previous ones, where I believe you used 3 barrels of blasting jelly.
Yeah, we did.
That was sufficient to be able to cause the street above to very slightly distend upwards and then collapse in a sinkhole-like fashion.
Lovely. Perfect. In that case, what do you reckon? Just the side of the cave near to it? Guys?
If that's what you want to do.
Ooh, I'm
Yeah.
looking at this. I've got 3 barrels, unless someone else has used one without me knowing.
You haven't. One on either side of the cave. In that case, let's literally fucking compress this fucker.
Cool.
Yeah, 3.
Well, if you've got 3 barrels of blasting jelly, then you've got 3 barrels of blasting jelly.
So
But
one
if you're
there.
using all of them, then
One there.
so be it.
One there, one there.
Could do.
Yeah, that looks good. It's not going to blow the net into shreds, is it?
Oh, it's almost certainly going to blow the net into shreds. It's going to blow whatever's tangled in the net into shreds as well. We just need to hold him in place for a second whilst we can get him to explode.
Okay, so the
And
rocks
just
have been
checking,
rearranged
Coatrack.
into the rocks have been rearranged into a shrapnel pattern, and a barrel of blasting jelly has been positioned behind it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Bobby was doing. Piper has then proceeded to open up the parlor and take out the 2 remaining barrels of blasting jelly and position them on either side of the cave. That's what Piper was doing. What's Cardgar and Essig doing for this round of preparation?
Trying to stay out of the way and not
What's
making
left to
lots of
do?
noise.
Guys, get the instruments out. We're going to perform a nice little concert about here.
Where? I didn't see. Ah,
Mhm.
All right. Guess I will head over there.
So the pair of you start setting up a concert of sorts.
We want to make a lot of noise. The sort of noise that might make a wyvern go, "What the fucking hell's that noise?" Essentially.
Speaking of, each of you roll me a D100 for this round of preparations. Essig, as you are preparing your side of the concert preparations, you do something to make an exceptionally loud clattering noise.
He drops
Presumably,
his triangle.
presumably you drop your triangle from a great height or something equivalent. And the result of which is that Bobby, who is nearby the cave, hears a sound approaching. I would say at this point, you are all to roll initiative. And we'll see what happens.
The phrase "oh bugger" springs to mind.
Yep.
So what song are we starting on, guys? I would recommend "Through the Poison and the Claws" by Wyvern Force.
Yeah, that would work.
nice.
I forgot to click on mine, so I've not got the The initiative hasn't fucking thinged. Are we doing the dogs
once
having the
you
same
have-
initiative as the owner? Or
Yes, we are.
can you sort my initiative out, please?
I will in just a moment.
Oh, I've done mine wrong as well. It's because I rolled it with the mobile app.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll on your dog's character sheets for the purposes of getting their turns onto the order, please. Right. I see that Bobby rolled a 14.18. Piper rolled a 21. And Frizz also gets a 21. And Tank also gets a 14.18. What about Ushanka? What is Ushanka doing here?
Well, I assume he gets the same initiative as me.
Indeed. I'll go ahead and add a turn in and give Ushanka's the same as yours, 11.09.
As for what he was doing, he was looking at this bush, seeing if there were any berries on it.
Roll me a d4.
Okay. 4.
There are berries on the bush.
In which case, he is enjoying the berries.
Excellent. So, I now have to ask you. There's about to be a combat session right now.
I'm glad about that
Do
because
we-
otherwise the initiative would be really inappropriate.
Yes. However, it is currently 12 minutes to midnight. Do we want to play this now, or do we want to play it next time?
I say fucking go with it.
Yeah.
I'm fine
Okay.
either way.
Yeah,
If everybody's happy to go for it.
yeah. You can't. That's this is fucking don't fucking blue ballers like that. It's like roll initiative, this, that, and the other. But next time. that's fucking terrible. That's like
Not
that's
that
like.
that'll be.
Sorry, go on.
Not that that'll be. No, not that that'll be some huge thing. In like 10 minutes, I'm gonna have to like move the laundry into the dryer, but that'll just be a moment.
Yeah.
Right, so. Good to hear that everybody's ready to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and do some stuff.
Cool.
Let's see here.
Can I assume, as I heard the noise, that I have the opportunity to go, oh bugger, grab the rope and start fucking tabbing it before shit starts happening?
Yeah, you can.
Groovy. I will take a turn. My movement is not fucking great.
You'll be able to do that when it gets to your turn, of course. Give me just a moment. Now, let's roll this thing's initiative. It goes first. Right, so, Bobby, You hear as a creature begins stomping its way out of the cave.
What? I
And
hear it as it's coming out of the cave. It reacts so fucking quickly from its den that it gets all the way to the cave entrance before I hear it. Really?
it's stomping towards the entrance of the cave.
Okay.
It hasn't arrived yet.
Oh, okay, right. Because I was about to say, what?
Yeah, that thing's stealthier than we are.
You would estimate that you have at most a turn before it comes arriving out of the cave.
Right. I grab my trigger rope, and I'm gonna fucking do the whole dash shit.
Okay. Well, before that happens, Cardgar, it's your turn. I will say that you do not see that. You do not see that there is a wyvern approaching because you are too far away to be able to hear from the cave itself. However, you do see from the corner of your eye a bobby looking awfully flighty all of a sudden, presumably screaming something about
No,
incoming lizards.
no screaming. Team America's secret signal.
Which is,
You don't know the Team America secret signal?
it's been a very long time since I watched
Come
that movie.
on, someone must know the Team America. Fine, I'll find a fucking GIF.
Of course, we know the Team America secret signal. Ginge is a
That's what the
heathen.
secrets. That's what makes it a secret. It wouldn't be a secret signal if you knew it.
Okay, well, what I will do then is... Wait. Are you sure it's my turn? I've got the lowest initiative.
That's a good point. Why is it sorted? There we go. It's not your turn. It's Piper's turn. Piper, you see Bobby from the corner of your eye suddenly looking very shifty and anxious.
Well, I shall notice the secret signal. Hop aboard, hop aboard my doggo and move within range of the front of the cave, which is, let's see, measuring tool. Yeah, that's fine. But I'll go one further forwards, and I will ready an action to cast Phantasmal Force on the first wyvern that I see emerging from the cave.
All right. Okay, good to know. So, Piper readies the casting of Phantasmal Force. Essig, suddenly it's your turn. You see a short man in the distance waving his arms frantically.
Ah, well, it seems like I need. There's a very good chance that short man will need help with whatever he does soon. So I think I'll give him a bardic inspiration by tinging my my triangle.
Thank you.
What is the range of providing
I
inspiration?
was just gonna check that because I realized we're so far back.
I
Yeah,
believe
buddy.
It's
it's
usually 60
feet.
feet, isn't it?
Yeah, we're probably out of wait. That's out of range, isn't it? A little bit, yeah. Actually, it's within the range where I could walk into range and step back out of range. I think.
Yeah,
If that's what you want to do, then that's what you do.
you're 30.
And
30.
as far as my standard action is concerned, what the fuck was I about to do with that? I had a plan, and then things took forever, and I forgot my plan.
Alright.
Yeah, no, I don't remember my plan.
Well, that sucks.
This seems good. Hold on, how long does this one last again? Is it... You know what, screw it. No, nothing. I'm just saving. my shit for later.
Okay. When you say that you're saving something, you need to specify what it
Oh
is.
no, not preparing. I mean, like I'm not going to consume any of my resources.
Oh, so you're just not going to use your action then? Okay, sure.
I mean, I'll be prepared on the off chance something steps into melee range of me.
Okay. If something happens
something
to get within
disagreeable.
melee range of you,
Yes,
if
it's
something
something that
happens
I
to get
want
within
to
melee range
kill.
of you, you're using your action to prepare a stab.
Yes.
Good to know. We move on to Bobby's turn.
Truly unexpected ambush that I am prepared for.
Bobby has 25 movement.
Oh, also the time has arrived. I'll be back.
And he's also got a dash. Which
The dash requires your action.
Oh yeah. So with the rope to pull and release the thing in hand, I'm going to fucking leg it. To not that button, that button. To about sliding to a halt about by Piper, turning to look at the cave entrance, rope in hand. Going, fucking wyvern, guys! It's fucking coming! But quietly.
Righto. I will say that the rope is only. How much length of rope were you able to work with as it was being set up? Like, who provided the rope?
I mean, I had the parlour out and things available, so there was 50 foot in there.
There we go.
Well, there you go. We'll say that you can be a maximum of 50 feet away from the cave entrance while still having control over the rope.
Okay. Well, there we go. Because that is exactly where I was.
How convenient.
Yeah. Funny because I got dash and I've got 25 feet of movement, so I moved 50 feet and I was at the cave entrance.
Are you going to use your bonus action for anything?
I'm not going to use my bonus action for anything. I'm going to use my bonus action for making sure I'm wearing my brown pants. Fortunately, I am.
Righto. And with that said, you have a doggo.
I do. I'm going to have the doggo run over here behind this tree.
I'm back.
Stay
In like
down.
half an hour, I'll have to step away for a little bit.
Right.
As you command Tank to step away, to make his way away from the area, you notice as he seemingly catches a whiff of something, and you can tell from the look on his face that he didn't like the whiff he caught. I'd say roll an animal handling check to see if you can interpret the look in his face.
Animal handling check. 19.
Yeah, give me just a moment. You know that gif of the dog? Ah, yes, here we go. This is roughly the kind of expression that you see Tank make as he steps near the water pool.
Right, okay.
A very distinctly, yeah, there's something off about this water.
Yeah, that water stinks. Okay.
So,
Don't drink the water, guys.
that is the end of Trig and Tank's turn. It now moves over to Kardgar and Ushanka.
Excellent. Well, I guess I'm going to shoo Ashenka to get back. So he's going to move back over to here. and I'll give him some dried meats, and I will draw my my weapon and prepare to attack nearest wyvern that comes in range. Actually, can I prepare a spell?
You can prepare a spell. However, doing so causes the spell to be consumed, even if the triggering effect doesn't occur.
In which case, yeah, I will be prepared for any wyverns that get within attacking range. And I suppose
Okay.
I'll move forward up here, so I'm equidistant with the other.
Don't get fucking much closer than that, man.
Oh yeah, explosion.
Yeah, big
Over
fucking
there.
explosions. Yeah. I would stay back. In fact, from there.
Well, further back than that. I mean,
Fuck yeah! I'm gonna be I don't want to
behind
take.
this
Yeah,
fence.
I want to take my turn, but I'm releasing that net and then running backwards before I fire the fireball.
All right.
Right. If that's what Cardgar is up to, then we know what Ushanka's doing. Ushanka is entering into the fetal position, and it
Ushankin.
moves on to the wyvern's turn again. Let's see what the wyvern does. The stomping of the wyvern making its way towards the entrance of the cave grows louder to the point where now, despite the fact that you are all quite some distance away, you are able to hear its approach. Let's see here. That is a perception check to see if the wyvern can spot the net, which is not as high as the general dexterity check that Essig made earlier with his 20.
Hey!
You all see as the wyvern sticks its head out of the cave, and in doing so brings forth with it a large plume of this almost gaseous, smoky material that it seems to be almost drenched in. It looks towards your party, and I believe there were some held actions.
There were indeed.
I stab it.
So I've got my phantasmal force, which will be a box over its head, rendering it blind. It needs to make a DC 15 intelligence save.
Okie dokie. Let's see how it does with its intelligence save. It fails its int save. However, I'm sorry. There is at no point in the description of Phantasmal Force the implication that the creature can be rendered blind from the effect.
I create an illusion that it can see on a creature I can see within range. It's a visible phenomenon of my choice that is no larger than 10-foot cube, and is perceivable only to the target for the duration. If it can see a box surrounding its head, it cannot see further than that box.
That's true.
I'm going to have to put my foot down on this, Kiki, and say, no, you cannot render it blind.
Why?
Because that would make Phantasmal Force effectively a spell that can just instantly blind a creature.
Can you use phantasmal
let's-
For reference,
let's
illusion to hide behind it?
for reference as to how strong instantly blinding a creature is, take a look at the spell Eye Bite.
Now, in theory, if it if it moved its it definitely wouldn't work. Say if it moved its head outside of the 10-foot cube, but as long as it doesn't move its head more than 5 feet, you'd think that would still kind of function. Maybe.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
it's going to thrash around, surely. But
yeah. Also, it suggests to me. It specifically says in the thing that you can have a bridge, for example, a
Or
full bridge
wait,
that
what?
the creature can see visibly and identifies that's a bridge there and tries to cross a chasm. And when it falls down the chasm, it discerns that it must have made a mistake because there's clearly a bridge there. It's definitely not an illusion. Um, why would a box not have a similar effect of I can definitely see this around me?
that's fair. The target rationalizes any illogical outcomes through interacting with the phantom. For example, a target attempting to walk across a phantasmal bridge that spans a chasm falls
What?
once it steps onto the bridge. If the target survives the fall, it believes that the bridge still exists and comes up with another explanation for its fall. If it can see a bridge, it can see a box.
How is there seriously a tier 2 spell that can make someone walk off a cliff?
and believe it was at fault for it as well.
Magic is such bullshit.
This spell has been repeatedly bullshit. Remember how bullshit it was on the whale? Mhm.
This spell is bullshit.
There are many
And
spells
I
that are
have been
bullshit.
allowing a lot of reasons for it to be bullshit. But I'm putting my foot down on inflicting the blindness effect on an enemy. Compare the circumstances behind Phantasmal Force to the spell Blindness Deafness.
I mean, blindness, deafness can't do damage.
Exactly.
Okay.
It can only blind.
No one's saying it's blind. It's just got a box on its head.
Yeah.
No, Kiki is saying that it's blind.
Okay, fine. It cannot see
This is
beyond that
obscured,
10-foot
it's not blind.
10-foot box over its head. But for the inside of
Which
that box,
renders
it
it
can
blind.
see.
No, it can still see its feet.
It can see the inside of the box.
And illusion magic's annoying.
I know illusion magic's fucking annoying. It
Kiki,
always is. It's annoying in Naruto. It's annoying every time some fucker starts pulling illusion magic. It's a pain in the ass. For those
Are
that
you
are.
able to move the illusion in this spell?
Yeah. In fact, the illusion has regularly been used up till now to have things like a phantasm of a person
Mhm.
riding the back of a creature and stabbing it every turn.
Does it take an action to make it move into like that, or does it just happen?
I originally thought it was my bonus action, but apparently not.
This is an extremely strong spell.
Mm.
So the wyvern will have to spend a turn shaking its head to throw the box off.
Yes.
I mean, to be honest, the thing is that honestly,
how
it comes
a box
across
would
as if it would
work.
be
The
almost
wyvern-
useless on a wyvern, because, it would basically move
The
its head and almost
wyvern
immediately figure out it's a trick.
The wyvern would have to spend its turn attempting to shake the box off of its head, which it could fail to do.
Yes.
No, it's a box.
Yeah, but it's wedged over its
According
head.
to the
It's got horns
according
and
to the
stuff.
description of Phantasmal Force.
Yeah. And it will just
Wait,
legitimize in its head.
This is an extremely strong spell that I have in the past agreed, yes, it can cause gradual damage to a target, and yes, it can cause the target to become distracted. I'm drawing the line at renders the target completely blind.
Yeah, it's kind of OP having a second tier spell that can render a wyvern useless.
Yeah, I mean, look, if it has to spend a turn for getting the box off its head, and then the box is lying on the floor, it's still a phantasmal box.
No, it
And I'm
wouldn't.
sure Keith can do something to move
Ez,
it back.
you don't.
You're not getting
You
it.
don't understand. It uses its action to attempt to remove the box. It could shake its head around, and then the box stays stuck in place.
The box isn't. The box is an illusion in the mind of the wyvern. It's not a physical thing. It's on its head as far as the wyvern thinks. It's not affected by gravity or wind force or anything else. The wyvern just legitimizes and goes, oh, it's there. It's stuck on my head. I can't get the fucking thing off. The only way it can defeat it is by doing another intelligence check every round.
That is absurd.
Yep. It is extremely strong, which is why I'm putting my foot down and saying you could have it be a cage over its head, which would make it think that it can't bite you because there's a cage in the way.
Ooh,
But
Right,
you
well,
can't just
you know
render
what?
it blind.
If I can't do a box over its head, I'll put a spiked cage, spikes on the inside, on its stinger section of its tail, so that whenever it moves its tail, it feels that pain sensation of out. It's just hit a spike. So essentially, dissuade it from using its tail as a weapon.
It's also then
Ooh.
got a driving force behind it to push it forwards.
Mm-hmm.
Like it.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's perfectly reasonable. I'm quite happy for you to say that.
I'd have gone with a swarm of bees. It has a swarm of bees around its head, stinging it in its eyes. But yes, I like the spiked cage. Cool.
Well, that tail was the issue last time.
Tail was definitely its issue last time, yes.
What's
They really
everyone else
didn't
doing?
think
Someone
out
else had held actions.
I feel like the designers really didn't think out some of these spells.
Oh, it's D&D.
Yeah,
So
they
there are
did.
so many fucking bad spells. Are you familiar with my Lord and Savior, Silvery Barbs?
Oh, right.
Silvery Bobs is a strong one.
You mean this spell?
Yes, that spell of yours.
I'm still gonna say boo. I wanted the wyvern to turn into a comedy dragon with a box on its head.
You know what? I agree. The thing is, we're only halflings. Half the team is halflings. Two halflings, a dwarf, and an elf. We're not exactly strong. We can't exactly go. I will wrestle. I will wrestle the wyvern to the ground, beat it in an arm wrestle, and then fucking teabag its head and shame it to death. We have to use guile tricks and fucking bullshit. And sticking a box over its
I
head
will
is
just
definitely
say,
that.
my reason for putting my foot down in this specific circumstance is very similar to the reason why you didn't allow me to ignite the web and cause 100 fucking damage. 100 fire damage.
I'm gonna say I've seen. I
Some
did a lot of.
spells are bullshit.
I did a lot of reading up on that. The wording actually doesn't support your argument there. We
Yeah.
can discuss that later, though.
Jeremy Crawford. Is it Jeremy Crawford? It is Jeremy
Yeah.
Crawford. Yeah, he's had quite a few things to say about that spell. And that no, that is not its intended bullshit. And is a misinterpretation. But yes, he's left.
Why would I put a fake object in front of him when I could just put a fake object on?
Jeremy Crawford's left Wizards of the Coast, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's just gone.
No, it doesn't surprise me.
No, I'm taking my money and running. Fuck this.
So you're saying he's not responsible for there being no such thing as race in
Yeah, he's basically thrown the towel in and gone, I wish you all the best. I will go and do other things over here.
like half of the basic customization of your character. There's your class and your race.
It's all gone bullshit, hasn't it? Yeah.
By the way, you have a knife down here that you might want to take upstairs. Munion's trying to steal it.
Union can't have my knife. I mean, I have many. Which one is it? Is it my... Which knife are we talking about? Oh, my Sunday best knife. Thank you. Bad Munich. Can't have that. This is my knife that I would love to wear as a piece of decorative art, quite frankly. But the police would lose their fucking mind in this country at me wandering around with a Very
Yeah.
nice survival knife.
Just adopt Sikhism, you'll be fine.
This?
Say it's for stabbing Muslims. It's true to the faith.
I mean, it is. No, I didn't say
Yeah, no, I
that.
was thinking of the Sikh as soon as you mentioned it. As soon as you brought it up, I was thinking, yeah, the Sikhs, that's the religious tenet.
That is exactly why they were. Yes. Hey, you know, I could get down with that, actually.
Yeah. Oh no, religious discrimination. Oh, you sure you want to go with this? You could lose your job.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to be racist.
Why do you have this knife then?
You can
For
be
stabbing Muslims when they start getting rapey. Oh shit. That's why Sikhism exists.
Remind me to fight
Yes.
evil wherever I see it.
Yes.
They stares intensely at him.
So, getting back to the game,
Yes.
the wyvern sticks its head out the cave and manages to get to about here before it runs out of its movement speed.
Aha.
It spots the party off in the distance, and it's going to use its action to rear back and throw a fireball towards. Let's see. It aimed it straight at Cardgar. So that's going to be 20 feet in all direction from Cardgar. There's an extremely unfortunate circumstance because that means everybody needs to make the save.
Yeah, I kind of wondered why everyone crowded up around me.
What's
We're
the
going to do a rock concert.
All right. Each of you, I want you to roll me a dexterity saving throw.
That's
Alright.
Oh no.
Well, that's not good.
Tank needs to make a dex saving throw
he
too.
does, doesn't he?
Yeah, unfortunately, he's right on the edge of it.
He does not
Okay.
pass that.
Anybody who manages to roll a 16 or higher takes half of the following damage. That was a low roll.
That's 15.
No, that actually rounds down. So that's a 14 for anybody who passed. Anybody who fails on their dexterity saving throw takes 29 fire damage.
Ow. Well, I'm at half health already.
Yep, and my dog's already out. I said shouldn't have brought it in.
Mine's got 1 hit point left.
Please roll the phantasmal force damage, please.
Yep, no problem. It is. Let me remind myself.
Hang
You know
on.
what? I'll just
Frizz and Tank should have the same HP. They should be statistically identical.
Yeah.
I believe I said 30, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Frizz has got 26. Okay, awesome. I'll adjust that.
Both doggos should be at 30, and what I believe we also said that Ushanka was going to have more health as well.
Yeah,
What's Ushanka's health at?
He's got 30. It says 30, 3d8 plus 6.
Interesting. Well, I guess Ushanka also has 30 health, and which means that Ushanka now has to roll a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, that's the wrong button.
I can roll dex. I don't have to turn it into a saving throw.
Unless would Cardgar have told you, Shankar, to go further than just to the edge of the map.
I told Ashinka to go hide in the bushes and trees.
Righto. In that case, it does make sense that Ushanka would be there. Yeah. That is 5 psychic damage to the wyvern, which due to the nature of the illusion would be interpreted as piercing damage, but that doesn't make any effect. Right. The wyvern has made its fireball attack. It then ends its turn. Piper, that means it's time for you to do something.
Right. Well, what do we know about wyverns? Do we know if they speak, if they understand common?
You aren't sure unless you want to roll a nature check.
You know what? I will do a better check. I will. I don't believe command is a. Let's have a look. Spells, because I want to command the wyvern to stay. So,
Just
so
admit
yeah.
something you're in a fight against? Oh, yeah, serious question. I actually don't know.
Yeah, it just has to understand me.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I'm going to command the wyvern to stay.
Right. Let's see. That's a wisdom saving throw, right?
Yep.
That's going to be same roll as this one, which is convenient. Does a 16 beat your saving throw?
It beats my 15 unless someone wants some silvery barbs.
I mean, I can still rebarb that, can't I?
What is the range of silvery barbs?
Always
Within
massive.
60 feet.
You
Nice.
are within range. If you want to use silvery barbs, you can.
Let's silver the bulbs.
It rolls again. It still saves.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
That's
But
unfortunate.
it almost worked, which means that we can keep trying that. Brilliant. I will,
Either that.
in that case, go on, sorry.
Bear in mind, there is a chance that I'm just not telling you that it couldn't that it couldn't understand you.
Well, can I
There's
cast
a way
it
around
again?
this trick. Cast comprehend languages on the wyvern first.
Wait, do you actually? I was going on the assumption it can't understand us. I really wouldn't go with a plan that requires it to speak common. I mean, I could be wrong, but I personally lean against it speaking common.
Well, could you command a dog to stay with the command spell?
Well, yeah. It just needs to understand it.
That would require it to be trained to obey the command in the first place, hence making the spell redundant.
Alright, fair enough.
I mean, unless it
What I will
didn't want
say is, if the wyvern can understand common, I would have rolled the saving throw. If the dragon wyvern cannot understand common, then I still would have rolled the saving throw, because otherwise that would be giving you information that Piper doesn't have.
Yeah. Now I'm still gonna. Can I cast it again as a bonus action, Ginge?
I believe command is an action. However, I
It is,
believe you
but
also have access to a bonus action thing that you are because you're a bard.
indeed. Can I do that? That's a second spell on the same turn, so I'm double checking that you're okay with that. With the action economy. It
My
doesn't use a
rule
spell
for
slot.
My rule for that is you can only consume one spell slot a turn.
Ah,
Brilliant. I shall cast command again and instruct it to stay.
Okie dokie. Let's see another 16. Nope, that's a 14.
And then I shall. Let's see. I'm going to move to relative safety. Let's go over here.
Does anything else happen when you use your bardic thing that lets you force it cast command?
Possibly. Hang on. Let me link it. It's a wall of text that no one will ever read. Here we
If I
go.
remember
Mantle
correctly,
of Majesty.
this should also impart the ability to make allies do something, right?
No, that's a different thing. No, just any creature charmed by me automatically fails its save.
Right. What happens when they fail the save?
They
Oh, the
have to
command goes
follow
through.
command.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand. Right. Good to know. That is Piper's turn, and a 1 HP Frizz is able to quickly limp away to the bushes, carrying Piper along with it. Is Frizz a boy or a girl?
Frizz is a dude. Why not?
Righto, white woman. Essig, it's now your turn.
so we're still waiting for it to move forward, right, guys?
No, I'm going to drop the net on it on my turn.
Oh, okay. So it is fine then. Okay, well that's why you hadn't. It's just you needed your turn. All right. You still have the bardic inspiration I gave you, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do the convenient move of bardically uninspiring the wyvern.
Ah.
Uh-huh. He rings his triangle in a somehow discordant manner.
Aimed directly at the filthy beast.
Just double checking. That means that the next time it attempts to make a saving throw, I roll a d6 and deduct the result, correct?
A D8.
Here's the thingy.
As a bonus action, you expand here. The creature must subtract the number rolled from the next saving throw. Right, okay. Yep,
It's
that's
a
a
D8,
D8,
isn't
meaning
it?
that you roll D8s.
Yeah.
Fun times.
Yep. And for
I'm
my
going to give the wyvern a red dot to show that it's currently unhappy with the sound of your triangle.
Good. Oh wait, does this one have a? Oh shit, does that have a saving throw? Oh, that's a weirdly obscure combination I could be going with here. I guess I will do that. Yes. So, to be clear, any saving throw it will make against being captured would be dex based, right?
Unless you
Oh wait, never
intend
mind.
to
It doesn't matter for
grapple
this
it.
turn, actually.
If you intend to grapple it, it could try to overpower you with an athletics check.
Well, no, I meant for the net thing. I don't know what its save against that would be, but
That would probably be dexterity.
right. But also, I realized that doesn't matter because the thing I was looking at, I can't actually functionally activate in this case. Yes. So never mind. Forget that.
Well, you still have your action.
Yes. I probably should have done things in a different order, but I'll just do this the way I am now. You know what? Screw it. Anyway, I am. Is it? By the way, can you describe what this is?
That is a rather large tree.
Okay, so I'm not actually
there is
behind anything there.
You're currently not behind anything, but you are shielded from the sky.
Am I behind
where
anything
you
if
are
I'm
right
there?
You would be behind a rather thick tree trunk.
Okay, cool. Because all right, I'm going to prepare to stab anything.
Right, fair enough. At the end of your turn, the wyvern gets to make a legendary action, for which it is going to take flight. It beats its wings down on the ground with force, causing the two barrels nestled to either side of it to take a tumble. Let's see if they decide to detonate randomly. I'm going to roll a d6 for each barrel. If the barrel rolls a 6, it goes boom.
Fun.
Slash R 1d6. First for the top barrel. That barrel did not explode. That barrel also did not explode.
Wait, combined they rolled a 6, which means they both explode.
I'm going to say the first barrel ends up there, and the second barrel ends there. And I'm just going to delete the other squiggles. And the wyvern flies up to about here and is about 30 feet off the ground at this point.
So is our trap useless now?
Yeah, apparently.
Well, that tells me that my command doesn't work on it.
Unfortunately not. It does not speak
Well, that was a
common.
lot of hours we wasted. Anyway.
Yeah, right. I will say, can I actually ask you to roll something else as well? If it's flying through the rope that is in my hands, which is connected to the top of that cliff, it's going to pull the knot off that rope and trigger the rope to be the net to drop down onto it as it takes flight. I would like you to roll something to see if that trap is triggered, because I'm holding onto that rope and it's at maximum extension and it's connected to the top of that cave. If it's flying up,
That is
it's
a good point.
pulling against the rope, and if it is, it's going to get tangled in the net.
See, the way I pictured it flying is that it kind of steps forward, beats its wings down hard, goes up at a forwards angle.
Still going to hit the rope. Isn't
However,
it?
that would result in the wing potentially clipping through the rope.
Yep.
So I'm going to roll a d4,
Mm-hmm.
and if it rolls a 1, the net goes off and catches the dragon. If it rolls anything but a 1, the net goes off, but the dragon evades it. So, the dragon attempts to take flight and make its way up into the air, but unfortunately, in doing so, sufficiently disrupts the rope, causing the net to fall onto one of its wings, partially entangling the creature. It is not able to take flight and is only able to make it to about here before it ends up having to be forced to land. It could still move around, it just can't fly for now. Good job, Trig.
Thank you.
Right. That was the end of Essig's turn. It is now your turn, and congratulations. You don't need to use anything. You don't need to use any bonus action or action to trigger the trap.
No. In fact, all I need to do is do the. I'm going to take a few steps back. In fact, I'm going to move my entire 25 feet back. Making sure I can still see the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment I am in any danger of losing sight of the barrel, let's say there, I'm going to fire well. Let's make sure, shall we? I think we.
You
I think
have
we
fireball.
I think we
correct?
make fucking certain that thing goes off. Yes.
I have a piece of advice.
Yep.
Any amount of fire damage that touches a blasting jelly barrel will cause it to detonate.
Yes.
Look at where those 3 dots are.
I am aware. 20-foot radius, isn't
Where are
it?
you centering? It is 20-foot radius, means wherever you pinpoint its detonation point, that's where the fireball radiates from.
I'm going to
Oh, that's
shoot it
pretty easy.
straight in the center of the wyvern. In that case, and detonate all 3 of the
Yeah.
barrels. So,
Let's see. That's within range. That's within range. That's within range. All I'm going to say now is, oh no.
mhm.
Right. Let's roll this thing's dexterity saving through for the fireball first off, shall we?
Yeah.
That's going to be a. That's going to be one of these. Okay, so
Minus
it only takes
1d8.
15 fire damage.
Minus 1d8.
Oh, that is true. That is true. This is the first time it's rolling a. That drops down to a 16, which is still enough to save.
It still just beats it, yeah.
Okay. Whenever a barrel of blasting jelly encounters lightning, thunder, or fire damage, it immediately detonates.
Mm-hmm.
Have I ever told you how much damage a barrel of blasting jelly does?
We a lot. I'm also kind of worried about Essig, but
Yes, I know. I blind a tree. Hopefully that helps. It's a massive tree.
That can't be helped right now. Yeah.
Hopefully the massive tree helps.
Mm-hmm.
A barrel of blasting jelly detonates for 12d12 thunder damage.
Mm.
There's 3 of them there. Essig is in range.
Oh fucking Christ!
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't notice that we put a third one there.
He's only in range of one of them, though. The dragons in the wyverns in range of all 3.
Yeah, I legit didn't notice that we put a third one there. I thought we were I thought we were putting one on either side and one like below or above it.
So can I just? Isn't Essig behind a tree trunk?
He is behind a tree trunk. Yeah.
He is behind a tree trunk, which might mean that he's about to receive wood shrapnel.
Yay!
So this is the amount of damage that this is dealt by the rightmost barrel of blasting jelly. Oh no, I apparently did the wrong thing there. That's going to be one of those.
Oh no!
Holy shit, that's a high roll!
Yes.
Oh no!
Mm-hmm.
The average of that should be 78.
Yes. One of them might be a very
Okay.
low roll.
Essig, roll me a Constitution saving throw, please.
Okay.
That is sufficient to save. You take half that damage.
I still die.
What is your
You
max?
die and you have to take
45.
Okay, you're revivable. You're not dead. We can get you back, dude.
You're only mostly dead.
Yeah.
Also, the dragon just went off, so unless there's something I can resolve right now, I need to go for a moment.
We'll sort.
No, there isn't.
We'll rebuild you, dude.
Okay.
You know.
Why is it always the black guy that goes first?
It's just fate.
That is the damage that the other 2 barrels of blasting jelly deal to the wyvern.
That's not as impressive.
It's taken 228 damage in total.
Now, can I also inquire, are there any additional
That is the damage of the
caused?
stone. That is the damage of the
That's it.
stone shrapnel that hits the dragon.
Right.
Fantastic.
The stone shrapnel wasn't necessary. The dragon was immediately pulverized by the other damage. But first, I'm going to roll Constitution saving throws for the dragon to see if it's able to resist any of the damage that it just took. So, first of all, that's going to be 1d20 plus 4 for the first one. That's a natural 1. Okay, so it doesn't save that one. And then for the other 2 barrels, that's going to be a natural 4. It doesn't save against that. And then a dexterity saving throw, which is also a +4 for the stone shrapnel. That's going to be a 2. So yeah, the dragon effectively, you throw out the fireball, and all of you go deaf. I'd like each of you to roll me perception saving through perception checks, please.
A perception check?
Except for Essek. Yes.
You mean Essek doesn't need a perception check?
Why do I get the
No,
feeling
he
this is
doesn't.
like that FPS Russia scene where he shoots the car and the fucking half the car goes flying past him. He's like, a lot of shrapnel.
Yep. And from Bobby?
Hold on, I'm just finding his character sheet because I shut it down rather than minimized it because
Smart.
I am that special kind of tard. Perception, huh?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so only Piper is able to spot the instantaneous corpse flying towards the east.
There's an actual corpse that's not just bits of him pulverized into.
I was going to say, we did promise trophies.
So yeah, as far as you are all able to see, after Bobby sets off the fireball, which detonates the blasting jelly, which pulverizes the wyvern, and also Essig. Jesus Christ, that was a high roll. The wyvern, it's dead. At the time that you set that off, it had 220 HP. You just hit it for, let's see, 15 plus 128 plus 100 plus 58, 301 damage.
I mean, it would have been
You
way
just-
too broken if we'd blinded the wyvern, right, guys?
So I'm going to put one of these on the dragon. I'm going to put one of those on the dragon and say, "Congratulations, guys! You beat it."
I'm going to say
Dead
that
now.
as I fired the fireball, I just turned and walked away casually, so the whole explosion happened as I was walking away, and I don't even look back.
I'm going to do a quick roll here. Let's see. 1d2. If this is a 2, your fireball caught some of the gas coming out of the cave and caused an internal ignition.
Awesome. Do it.
The cave behind the wyvern, in fact, did not ignite.
Can I use Bardic Inspiration on that 1d2?
Are you sure you want to?
Yes.
Look, this is a mine that we've got shares in this mine,
Yeah,
guys.
don't destroy the mine, dude.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
Fine.
So I'm going to remove the orange dots because those aren't necessary anymore. Right. So that's the combat over. The wyvern is currently not moving, and from an initial point of view, from your party's perspective, it appears to be little more than a broken heap partially up the cliff.
Awesome.
Ushanka and Frizz are rather crispy doggos.
Hang on.
And
Oh my god.
Essig appears to be missing.
Essig
And yes, Piper?
had a ring of negate one elemental type instance.
Yes,
Fucking
he
did.
did. Unfortunately, it seems he forgot to activate it. I will say that when Essig comes back, when Coatrack comes back, I will allow him to roll an intelligence saving throw to see if he does think, yes, activate ring.
I'm just saying that would be a really powerful taser.
Yes.
Oh no, that'd be thunder damage. So that would convert the ring into a very high quality thunderstone.
It'd be like a ring of the
Flashbang.
ram at that point. A very powerful version.
So, Ginger, I just want to get a rules clarification. Make sure I understand this correctly. Wyvern is dead, right?
Oh yeah.
Extremely dead.
Why dead wyvern counts as object, right?
Correct.
Dancing item?
Dancing item. Absolutely.
Is there a size limit on what dancing item can be used on?
It goes up as I level up. Let me just check what it is. I think I can do up to large.
Large is 2x2. This wyvern is 3x3. So
I'm just reading through it. I can only go up to large. Okay, guys, we're gonna have to chop off bits of it, and then I can animate it.
Are there bits to chop off? Is it not just a big smear, a mangled mess?
there does appear to be. Okay,
Also,
I'm going to say that most of the wyvern is in one piece. It is no longer wyvern shaped, however, and one of its wings is over there.
Huh.
So I'm gonna do that.
Right.
That's one of the wyvern's wings.
Okay. If we want to take this back to present it, I mean, I could use mending to put the wing back on it.
Yeah, you could.
I mean, is
I
there
would suggest
a cart or
Absolutely.
a wheelbarrow we could put together or something? Also, Essig is down, but he's not out. The hit he took killed him, but didn't turn him into a smear. He is revivable. He will be doing death saving throws right now. I would like to administer some healing.
No, he is dead.
He's dead?
He's dead.
He
If
took
you
50
take-
damage, yeah.
If you take an amount of damage that is sufficient to completely render you from full health to 0 in a single hit,
Oh yeah, you're right.
you
he's
just
dead.
die.
Yeah.
He had
I've done
48
it.
max
I've done
HP, and even though he saved, but okay, let me just explain. Essig's body, which upon Piper noticing, realizing, oh, that blur that I spotted must have been Essig. When Piper makes her way over towards where Essig is, he spots Essig pincushioned with shrapnel from the bark of the tree as a corpse, very dead, but in one piece, pouring with blood, but in one piece.
So what you're saying is there's nothing to do.
If
Okay,
he had failed the saving throw,
Okay.
Essig would not be in one piece.
Right.
No. What we are saying is
Okay.
Essig
Anyway,
is
I'm back, and
alive
I
and well.
could basically hear everything. So,
Right.
by the way, just to be clear, the massive
Okay.
tree had no ablative effect at all.
Oh, Coates. You have a ring
Unfortunately
that
not.
absorbs all of that damage.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I heard
Uh,
that. So, what is safe throw or whatever? Intelligence.
Yeah,
you said?
roll me an intelligence saving throw. If you manage to roll that's not high enough.
Yeah, so he's
Can I
dead. Okay,
bardically
cool.
inspire this?
I'm sorry, Code.
That's fine.
Okay. So what you're saying is now the only thing we can do with Coat is go through his pockets for loose change.
No. Essig is alive and well thanks to the wonders of dancing item.
Well, there's that. But can't we use bardic inspiration in that role?
I don't get it.
Christ, that is twisted.
Can we find a necromancer? I mean,
Hang on. This is interesting. If you will allow me to do bardic inspiration on that saving throw, he gains temporary hit points. Will that keep him alive?
how many temporary
I'm
hit
sorry,
points?
no. This is a
Equal
retroactive.
to the D8.
This is a retroactive intelligence save that would put him in. That would basically say, did Essig remember to activate the ring? And I had the DC at 14, which he did not pass.
Yeah. Oh.
I actually really like the idea of our dancing zombie drow, who still plays the triangle just as well as he did in life.
I mean, yeah, can I do that?
If you want to use dancing item to cause Essig's corpse to begin doing a vague jig maneuver, then yes, you can.
I'm just going to say now, I'm much as I have dubious morals in these games, I'm going to say that Essig deserves at least a hero's pyre, not an animated corpse fucking mockery.
No. What I'm thinking here is it's easier than us carrying him, and when we get back to town, there's probably a cleric in town that we might be able to get to revive him. And this way, at least he walks back to town, quote unquote, under his own power.
As long as he's walking behind me, I do not want to see a dancing, jigging corpse of my former friend
All right.
dancing around with us.
He won't. All right. It says dancing item, but I can spend an action to command it, the item to actually do a thing, but walk. I'd imagine.
The way this looks, by the way, okay. First of all, is Cardgar actually casting dancing item on Essig's corpse?
I can't stop him, but I don't like it. I think fallen friends deserve better than that mockery.
No, that's fair. All right. What I'll do is I will do a song of creation to summon some sort of cart.
Okay.
Perfect. We put the wyvern on it, and we put Cardgar on top of it.
Why me?
Not Cardgar, Essig rather, on top of it, as if he has slain the beast, but has died and fallen in battle in the process.
We're still flogging all the
way,
parts of the wyvern to the people who wanted the trophies, right?
Sure.
I will. Something that you should know. There are multiple different tiers of revival magic. The lowest tiers require an intact corpse. Moderately high tiers require at least some form of remains. And the highest tiers of resurrection magic can literally just bring someone back from the dead, even if there is no available body. Thanks to Essig passing his Constitution saving throw, he is considered an intact corpse. So it is possible to resurrect him through cleric magic. And not even... Yes. It's within your budget range.
Okay.
I mean, what sort of cost would we expect for that?
Well, Revivify is right out.
Yeah.
That requires you to I believe the next one
within a minute, isn't it?
Yeah. That you're not casting Revivify on him right now. Not unless one of you has access to Gentle Repose.
Nope.
Nope.
No.
So, what sort of price range are we talking about?
We'll discuss that with the cleric when we get there. Meanwhile, we've earned ourselves 5% of a mine, and we've got lots of bits of wyvern to sell. And you know what? A funeral to arrange, or a revival to arrange, or, maybe people want to buy bits of elf, I don't know.
I think a memorial concert.
Is Essex like his body full of like wooden splinters from the tree?
Yes,
Because we could
Currently,
extract those and
yes.
sell them as souvenirs.
we could.
Somebody roll me a d8.
Sure. 6.
That times 10 is the number of shards of wood that you can find pincushioning Essex body.
All right. So I guess we load up cart, the ice summon cart. We load it up with dead bodies, and we head back to town.
Yep.
But I don't think there's any
Yeah.
point in hanging around here.
No, we've done the thing.
I'm going to heal up Tank.
Yep.
Because Tank's on 1 hit point. Anybody else that's on low hit point?
Yeah,
I'm
we
at
could.
half health.
Can you do Fizz as well?
Yeah.
Well, you could take a short rest, which is an hour, for the purposes of doing the Song of Healing Bard thing where everybody jams out and does a big heal.
Fair.
Yep, that works.
It's not going to be the same without the triangle.
No, it won't. So I believe the way we do it is everybody rolls the extra dice that you do for that particular feature, and then the sum total of all of the dice applies to everyone.
1d8, isn't it, for each
Meaning,
of us?
I believe it's called Song of Healing. Let me just take a look at the. Let's see, Bard 5e.
Song of Rest.
Or Song of 1d6.
Song of Rest. Here it is. Posted in chat.
No, it's yeah. Oh yeah, it's
1d6. Yeah, it's a
one.
1d6.
We all roll 1d6 and take the average. You said.
No, you all roll 1d6, and then whatever the total of those 3d6s is, you all heal that in addition to you all heal 11 in addition to whatever else you heal when you roll your first hit die as part of the short rest. So now anybody who's lost any hit points, which I believe is everybody, roll one of your hit die, and then add 11 to the result.
So Frizz is going to actually use all of them, which is 48.
So on your first hit die, Cardgar and Bobby both heal for 13. And Frizz is now up to full HP.
Brilliant. And I'll do mine. What's the Bard? A D8?
Yep.
To D8.
Yep, so I'm up to full as well.
Wow.
I'm actually down to 42, so 41 out of my 42. I quite like the idea of having a bit of a scar and some blood. May as well look like we've been in a fight.
Well, it's a you took heat damage and only heat damage. So as a result, we'll say that you're missing an eyebrow.
Not the face.
Exactly right. You're right.
You're going to get back to the town and they're going to look at you all and notice how all of you have like some very superficial burns. Bobby's missing an eyebrow. Maybe your clothes are a bit singed. And then there's just Essig. Like, Jesus Christ, what happened?
Well, you couldn't hear this from the town.
They would have heard.
Oh, they could. They fucking heard that from the town. In fact, when you get back to the town and before you even arrive, you see that there is a small smattering of 15 or so people who are just kind of waiting at the road. One of them being Katie, and another one being the dwarf who runs the Golden Pickaxe. And
What's
there's even the town mayor there, Bartha. And
what's the town called again?
it's called Donheim. Here, I'll move you back to the world map so that you can see.
Right. I think we rock back up with a hello Donheim concert style, you know?
You have a
We've got a dead friend
So
amongst
you
us. We're
have
going to be
a
a bit miffed. I don't think a concert is exactly the right thing. Perhaps some sort of
A eulogy concert,
Hmm.
a
memorial.
eulogy concert, some sort of thing. I'm not about to celebrate my dead friend. I'm going to celebrate the win.
You've got a good point. In fact, as I approach them, I'll call out to them. Any clerics? We need a cleric over here, and indicate to our fallen friend.
There we go. Just putting that in the D&D room for record keeping sake. Seriously, that is an absurdly high roll.
I am absolutely certain that in this case, RIP stands for rest in pieces.
Yes, quite. As you are making your way back in and you see this small smattering of people and Piper calls out for a cleric, you do see a not elderly but somewhat middle-aged looking dwarven woman make her way to the front of the crowd saying, yes, I'm oh. And she quickly hurries her way forwards to the rest of the party, and then she looks at Essig and looks like she's about to go through the process of checking for signs of life, but then stops and just looks towards you, Piper, and says, "I assume that this isn't a healing job, is it?"
It's more of a bringing him back job.
I don't suppose you managed to get here in under a minute?
Don't think so.
Right then. Okay. I've got a chapel. I'll go. You should be able to find your way there. I'll go start prepping. And she turns around and makes her way away. You get the distinct impression that you'll be able to ask for directions.
I mean, chapels tend to be quite distinctive.
They do. In fact, I believe I mentioned that your party on the way in was able to see a well, obviously church-like building on the horizon before you actually arrived in town because of a particularly tall steeple.
Let's right. Let's get this wyvern somewhere for display for a little bit at least, and get Essig to this temple.
Let me just describe to you the state of the wyvern, by the way. Its arms and legs were all completely snapped. All of the long, any bone that was longer than 2 feet long is broken. You can quite effectively fold it over into a package that would fit on the 10 by 10 cart, for example. Its skull is in more than one piece. It appears as though there is a fracture that has caused the skull of the wyvern to be split. Not quite down the middle, but enough that where all the flesh stripped away, it would be in 2 pieces for the top half of the skull plus the jaw. There is actually surprisingly little damage to the hide of the creature, this being almost a purely concussive force plus the force of several pieces of stone slamming into a high speed being bludgeoning damage. There's very little in the way of lacerations on the creature's skin. It's just basically ridiculous levels of blunt force trauma that has rendered all of its bones into broken bones and all of its organs into slurry. You suspect that with the mending spell, you will be able to restore its skeleton for the purposes of trophies, assuming you can find the right pieces to stick back together again. This is probably going, if you intend to restore the skeleton into a complete form, that's definitely going to be a multi-day job.
Trophies are
I'm
going to be
not sure we want to.
teeth, claws, and bits of scale.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not sure we want
and-
to. We've
and
got
bits
a
of
few
wing.
people who ask for specific bits, and I reckon it's actually quite cool for them if they can present the head of this creature with a big fracture line down it, going, and there's the wound that those adventurers dealt it to do the killing blow.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. What do you guys want to do? Do you want to head straight to the chapel and revive Essig? Do you want to go to the... do you want to start selling off bits, going around and
Let's
discussing payment?
right. Okay.
Give that
For a
a-
start, is Coat here? Coat, where are you?
Hi.
Are you here? Yeah. Okay. It's only fair we actually include you in on this. You have a situation here where your character is fucked. This actually
That
gives
is
you
correct.
gives you an opportunity to go, you know what, guys, I'm out. Don't revive my character. If you want to stay in, I would fucking love you to do that. What do we do? I'm gonna suggest this to you at this point in time. You have the opportunity to roll a new character at this point. Is essentially what I'm saying.
Very true.
And it's only
It
fair
would
that
be
we give
interesting to have a not bard in the party.
Exactly. I'm gonna offer you that that bit of say before we start spending fucking all of our money reviving you, if you're wanting an opportunity to get another character in. Essig's twin brother, who's out for revenge, and
No.
desperately wants to.
Messig came about as Essig left, I think.
Yeah. I mean, this is it. Do we take you to the chapel or the taxidermist? Is the question.
Not entirely sure.
Okay. It's 1 o'clock.
There is another option.
Okay.
You could find a druid and cast reincarnate.
Interesting.
How would that differ?
You remain as Essig. You do not remain a half elf.
Yeah, you reincarnate into something.
That's interesting. Never even heard of that one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Every boss fight, we can kill Essig and have him come back as a different creature.
Back when I was in uni, that actually.
Oh my
happened.
god, they killed
The character I was
Essig!
playing,
You
He
bastard.
started off as a human, and by the end was a half demon. And after that, he turned into a suit of armor.
Oh no, that's okay. Yeah, hold on a second. So you essentially you reincarnate and you roll a D100. and then depending on how you roll, is you come back as this. Is this? Am I reading this right?
Hmm.
This is the D100 roll table for a reincarnate spell.
Yep. That is the default reincarnate table. However, there are other tables that I could potentially choose from.
That's quite
Personally, it
wild.
would be particularly funny if Essig were to roll anywhere from a 43 to a 52.
I was just looking at the gnomes. Yeah. That would be funny.
Then again, it would be even funnier if you rolled a 23. He goes from being a half dark elf, half human to just straight up dark elf.
We
Finally, purity.
knocked the human out of him.
But that would require you finding a druid of sufficient power, which does not exist in the town of Donheim. Druids are not exactly common within the Dwarven lands, though you could probably find someone for that over in Stratovania.
Hmm.
So then we'd need like a gentle repose on him, right? To keep his body fresh.
That's right.
Lots of ice.
The time limits for the time limits for various resurrection magics are as follows: Revivify is within 1 minute of the death.
Yep.
Raise Dead is within 10 days of the death. The same applies to Reincarnate. From there, it goes to Resurrection, which requires a 7th level spell.
Mhm.
For that, the time limit is 100 years. True Resurrection, which is a 9th level spell, is 200 years. And then if you're able to find somebody who's capable of casting Wish, you could use Wish to resurrect someone after any amount of time.
I'm not using Wish to resurrect someone. I'm using Wish to bring back an old dead god that owes me one.
Yeah.
Because, then that god can resurrect the guy. And,
Mhm.
And have some fun.
And yes, exactly. I was watching someone talking about D&D at level 20. It was like, nobody ever goes to level 20. Because you get to level 20 and the fights are horrific, insane, and boring all at the same time. I was like, yep, sounds about right.
So I think that what we should do here is we should call the session over, give Coatrack time, a week's time to be able to figure out whether or not he wants to actually come back as Essig or roll up a new character, and then sort out the discussion of business dealings and so on and so forth with the various people in Donheim in the next session.
Yep.
I
Now,
have one last question.
Go on.
Level up?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, cool. I'm also going to take one claw, one single spiky, scaly bit of claw from this thing, and I'm going to have it delivered to the mayor's house. Oh, it's on the way. That is happening.
You have the option between an intact claw or a broken claw.
A broken claw. Just one bit of talon, not the whole foot, whole claw. Just one bit of one spiky finger.
Yes. Okay. Good to know. I'll actually note that down.
I will see any passing messenger, someone of any note, and go, send this to the mayor. Here, have a gold coin to.
Well, as a
Very
matter
good.
of fact, the mayor was among the small smattering of people who approached the incoming road when you guys first arrived back in Donheim.
If I'd seen him
He was there to see.
in that case, I would have cut the claw from it and wandered over, and in a handshake, inside the handshake, passed it over to him.
Right, so.
And say,
Well,
job,
he would have.
job done. And make sure I make good eye contact.
He will have responded to that by looking at you in the eye and then saying loud enough that everybody can hear, "I'm surprised to see that you managed it. Good job, everybody."
Not all of us dead. Carry on.
Anyway, that was quite the session.
Yes.
If you guys had not expended all of your blasting jelly for the purposes of making that a much quicker fight, you would have been in for quite the harrowing experience, because that thing wasn't the same level of wyvern as the previous one. Its fireballs would regenerate on a 50-50 coin flip, and its spike, its poison barbs on its tail did a decent chunk more damage than the previous ones did. This one was the quite literal bigger brother of the previous one that you guys fought.
And it was immune to cardboard boxes.
But not
Indeed, it
blasting.
was. Not blasting jelly. Nothing is immune to blasting jelly, except for some forms of elementals, possibly.
Blasting
Right.
jelly elemental.
I'm going through my level up options, by the way. I am taking tongues.
You're taking what?
Tongues.
Tongues. Good
This
idea.
spell grants the creature you touch the ability to understand any spoken language it hears.
Hold on.
Moreover, when the target speaks, any creature that knows at least one language can hear the target and understand what it says, which means I can command anything that can speak at least one language, including bestial ones.
Question. Does the target have to be willing?
Yes, but the target's me.
Okay, so if you cast tongues on yourself and then cast command, the creature will be able to hear what you say.
And understand it, yes.
That might not be how that works.
When the target speaks, any creature that knows at least one language can hear the target and understands what it says.
In that case, that's how that works. Yeah, that's an excellent way to get around the limitations of command. So long as the target is capable of speaking at least one language, you'll be able to do that. And for reference, wyverns can speak Draconic but not common.
Fun.
Well, I am strongly leaning towards glyph of warding.
We've
So
got
long
level
as
4
you
spells
don't,
now, right?
so long as you don't make a book of fuck, then sure.
I mean,
We get access to level 4 spells now, right?
what about pamphlets?
We got access one level 4 spell, yeah.
For reference, a book of fuck is a book that contains a glyph of every single spell that can be used to temporarily buff an allied creature, resulting in the creature opening the book, having every single one of those spells applied to them simultaneously, and suddenly gaining the ability to roll like 20 dice with every attack. It's completely fucking ridiculous, and I call it the Book of Fuck.
You can do similar. Actually, you could do similar with Piper's little hut thing that she's got, where you could have the whole thing covered in glyphs of buff, and you walk in there and speak a command word that activates them all, and that's it. You come out fucking hasted and everything else up to the nines. And because they're glyphs, they're not concentration spells either.
Yeah,
You could just
that's
have
the same principle as the Book of Fuck.
essentially a Superman's telephone booth. where you can walk in as Clark Kent, walk out just like, "Rah! I have 15 actions per turn." And yes,
Yep.
very expensive thing to set up though. Could we be talking? Was it 100 gold per glyph?
It's something like that.
I'm
Yeah. I think it's like 100 gold per level per glyph.
Yeah.
now I'm also torn between hallucinatory terrain, which works very well with what I've been working on so far, or phantasmal killer.
We get one extra spell, isn't it? I thought we'd.
Yeah, but we can also swap a spell. I'm swapping my plant
Oh.
grove to the plant.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to take the hallucinatory terrain.
Evolutionary terrain is brilliant.
We've also got access to polymorph now and dimension door.
We've got 4th level. Greater invisibility. Phantasmal killer. Confusion. Compulsion.
Phantasmal killer's amazing. You know that what's it called? Phantasmal force that I've been using.
Yep.
Instead of 1d6, 1d8 every turn, it's
4d10.
3d10.
4d10.
And it gets fear for the duration.
Yep. Not 3d10, it's 4d10 psychic damage.
Yeah.
Which very few things are immune to psychic damage. That's 20 damage. Potentially up to 40 damage. Per turn, potentially. It's fucking. And of course, compulsion, which is very in keeping with bards. Tell you what, let's.
Compulsion seems to kind of suck. It's just move crowd in direction. Compared to some of the other level 4s there, it doesn't seem very good.
All right. Trig, before this goes any further,
Yes?
are we still live?
We are still live, yes. I think we should
Okay.
probably stop that at some point very soon.
To anybody who may be listening, either in the present or in the future, hope you have a wonderful evening, assuming it applies. And Rip Essig.
Yeah, pretty much.
You bastards.
We'll bring you back.
Oh, they will certainly try.
Right, anyway, so I'm going to end the stream now. Good night, everyone. That's been fun.
Good night, everybody.